Gunter is presented to the world as a small penguin living in the frozen reaches of the Ice Kingdom. But the surface of this creature's existence hides a network of quiet layers. The first impression is simple. A round body, short wings, and a waddling stride give the appearance of an animal built for the cold. The Ice Kingdom is a natural place for such a being, with its sharp cliffs, frozen lakes, and winds that drift through the halls of ice shaped by the crown's magic. Gunter fits easily into this landscape. Every corner of the kingdom seems built to accommodate a creature like this, a creature that appears harmless and content with simple routines. Life in the Ice Kingdom encourages this illusion. Its halls echo with a cold stillness that becomes a backdrop for Gunter's presence. The creature moves across the icy floors with quiet familiarity, often seen carrying out small tasks, exploring crevices, or observing the strange patterns of light cast through the translucent walls. This daily rhythm reinforces the idea that Gunter is simply another inhabitant shaped by the frozen environment. Nothing about the body suggests power or mystery. The shape presents itself as gentle, as if the only purpose it serves is to navigate the cold world created by Ice King's magic. Yet this simple surface is only the outermost layer. Beneath it lies an identity shaped by many influences, some rooted in the present and others born from distant past. Gunter is far from a uniform being. The creature responds to the world in inconsistent ways, sometimes calm, sometimes mischievous, sometimes surprisingly intentional. These shifts in behavior reveal a mind with depth and independence. Gunter steals objects with precision, organizes items in the Ice Kingdom according to its own logic, and reacts to magical energies with an understanding that goes beyond instinct. These small indicators hint at a complexity that the penguin form does not immediately convey. The Ice King's influence plays a significant part in shaping this complexity. His kingdom is a place filled with loneliness, forgotten memory, and unpredictable emotions. Every creature living within that space absorbs the atmosphere created by the crown and the fractured identity of the man who wears it. Gunter remains near him through nearly every event that unfolds in the frozen palace. This closeness allows the creature to develop a set of responses that go beyond what would be expected from a simple animal. Gunter learns the patterns of the Ice King's routines, notices when his moods fluctuate, and anticipates his needs with uncanny accuracy. This accuracy is not a sign of domestication, it is a sign of awareness. Gunter understands the world around the Ice King with a sensitivity that few others display. The creature adapts quickly, reacting to changes within the kingdom with an intelligence that may appear subtle at first glance. A shift in the magical temperature of the room leads Gunter to retreat or advance depending on what the creature senses. An unexpected visitor causes Gunter to observe from a distance, evaluating the newcomer with an unblinking stare. These habits hint at a mind that examines its surroundings with intention, not instinct alone. There are moments within the Ice Kingdom when Gunter's behavior fractures the illusion of simplicity. In these instances, the small penguin suddenly acts with strength or control that surpasses anything expected from a creature of its size. Gunter lifts objects that should be too heavy to move. The creature wields magical items without fear or confusion. The responses feel deliberate, as if something within the small frame recognizes its purpose. These signs rise quietly through the story, each one forming a thread that leads deeper into the truth of what Gunter once was, and what Gunter continues to be beneath the quiet surface. Wu is full of ancient remnants, cosmic beings, and long-forgotten powers that have settled into new shapes over the years. Gunter belongs to this hidden part of the world, where identities are layered and often disconnected from the forms that hold them. Even when Gunter behaves like a mischievous companion, the creature carries a stillness that belongs to something older. The penguin body functions like a mask that shields an ancient presence from the pressures of its own history. This presence reveals itself only in rare instances when something stirs quietly inside, reminding the world that the creature holds more than the shape it currently wears. Time within the Ice Kingdom seems to move differently than in the rest of U. The cold preserves, slows, and stretches the days. Within that environment, Gunter has developed a state of awareness that exists between instinct and memory. The creature watches far more than it participates, letting the world unfold without rushing to take part in it. This is an unusual trait for a creature that appears simple. Instead of reacting with fear or confusion to chaos around the Ice King, Gunter often responds with steady observation. The calm gaze suggests a familiarity with conflict or power that predates the current life in the frozen palace. Interactions with other beings further reveal the inner layers of Gunter's identity. When visitors arrive, some sense a strangeness emanating from the penguin, though they cannot pinpoint what causes it. Gunter's presence can feel both harmless and unsettling, as if something behind the round eyes is quietly studying the nature of the world. The creature rarely seeks attention. Instead, it holds itself in a way that separates it from the other penguins that wander the Ice Kingdom. That separation is not created through arrogance or fear, but through an internal consistency that belongs to something ancient. There is also a strange duality in the way Gunter influences the Ice Kingdom. The creature often contributes to the maintenance of the castle, reorganizing objects or preparing small spaces. At the same time, Gunter is a source of chaos, pushing boundaries, acting on impulses, and reshaping the environment in ways that cannot be dismissed as randomness. The Ice King may interpret these actions as mischief, but they come from a much deeper place. These behaviors are echoes of a presence that once impacted far larger realms than the frozen palace. Although the body is small, the roots of the creature reach far beyond the halls of ice. The environment nurtures this duality. The Ice Kingdom is a place where magic settles into every stone and surface. The crown's influence touches objects, creatures, and emotions, blending them into a single atmosphere of cold enchantment. Gunter thrives within this environment because the creature has experienced power at a scale that few beings in U can fathom. Even when the ancient essence inside remains dormant, Gunter still processes the world through a lens shaped by past experiences. Every quiet moment carries a trace of knowledge that belongs to something older than the ice itself. An important part of Gunter's identity is the way the creature balances the present form with the remnants of a forgotten nature. While the penguin body shapes daily behavior, the deeper essence inside continues to exist without dissolving. These two layers coexist without conflict. The surface remains playful, curious, and occasionally troublesome. Beneath that, a dormant presence rests, observing quietly. This balance creates a creature that acts unpredictably, not because of chaos, but because the internal identity cannot be defined by a single role. The presence of other penguins highlights this distinction even further. Many penguins inhabit the Ice Kingdom, yet none display the unique blend of behavior found in Gunter. The others behave according to instinct. Gunter acts according to a mixture of instinct, habit, and something more. This difference separates Gunter from its Pakekata, surroundings without isolating the creature. It is part of the kingdom, yet something within it belongs to a larger story. Throughout its life within the Ice Kingdom, Gunter interacts with magical forces with unusual ease. Objects that should cause fear or confusion often receive a calm response. Gunter understands how to manipulate these items, when to avoid them, and how to exploit their effects. These actions reveal a familiarity with magic that does not align with the life of a normal animal. The creature engages with magical energy like someone who has known power before, even if the conscious memory of that power remains buried. This familiarity occasionally manifests through bursts of emotion that feel disproportionate to the situation. Anger comes with intense focus instead of chaos. Curiosity arrives with caution instead of impulsiveness. These emotional expressions hint at a personality shaped by experiences that took place long before the Ice King ever found himself trapped in a crown forged from ancient magic. Gunter's emotions reflect a mind that once navigated a world far beyond the cold halls of the Ice Kingdom. The mixture of present habits and ancient remnants forms a layered identity that makes Gunter difficult to interpret. The creature appears small and limited, but carries depth that emerges in quiet waves. This identity shifts through subtle signs: a long pause before moving, a moment of observation before acting, a sudden decision that changes the balance of the room. None of these actions seem remarkable in isolation. Together, they reveal a creature whose presence is shaped by forces that lie far beyond what the world around it sees. Over time, these signs form a picture of a being that does not exist within a single definition. Gunter is a penguin shaped by the Ice Kingdom, but also a creature influenced by ages of hidden memory. This complex identity explains the unpredictable mixture of innocence, intelligence, mischief, and old instinct that defines the creature's behavior. Each element contributes to a presence that feels small yet vast, gentle yet powerful, calm yet aware. This layered nature sets the foundation for everything that follows, creating a character whose quiet existence inside the Ice Kingdom holds more meaning than its appearance suggests. Gunter lives a simple life, with a complex essence, resting between the present world and the shadow of an ancient past. Life within the Ice Kingdom is shaped by cold air, blue light, and the quiet echo of frozen halls. It is a place built around isolation, where magic seeps through every surface, and the wind carries a steady hum through the mountains. At the heart of this frozen world stands the Ice King's palace, a towering structure formed from layers of ice, shaped by the crown's influence. This palace is not only a home, but also a reflection of the mind that inhabits it. Gunter lives within this shifting landscape, moving through its quiet chambers with a sense of belonging that appears instinctive. The Ice Kingdom functions at its own pace, removed from the warmer and more chaotic lands of Oo. Temperatures never rise, the sky often remains pale, and the ground stays frozen year-round. Within this environment, Gunter's daily routine unfolds in a consistent rhythm. The creature wakes, explores the crystal corridors, and navigates paths that are familiar through repetition. The surfaces glisten with faint layers of frost, creating a world that feels preserved in stillness. Gunter moves across these surfaces with confidence, displaying an ease that suggests years of adaptation to the cold. Every corner of the palace contains remnants of the Ice King's life. Broken objects sit beside magical artifacts, scattered in ways that reflect the disorganized nature of their master. Gunter interacts with these objects regularly, pushing them aside, inspecting them, or arranging them according to the creature's own sense of order. This small form of caretaking gives the palace a fragile balance. Gunter does not clean or repair in any traditional sense, but the creature maintains a rhythm inside the palace that prevents complete chaos. Items displaced by the Ice King often find themselves nudged back into place by Gunter hours later. The Ice Kingdom's magic influences everything within it, including its inhabitants. Even without direct use of spells, Gunter absorbs the environment's energy through long exposure. The palace radiates cold, but it also radiates the emotional traces of the Ice King. His moods alter the atmosphere inside, affecting the intensity of the blue glow, the shape of the icicles hanging from the ceiling, and the quiet hum that drifts through the chambers. Gunter reacts to these changes without hesitation. When the air shifts, Gunter adjusts behavior accordingly, showing an awareness of the subtle magic that fills the space. Outside the palace, the landscape forms a wide stretch of frozen plains, broken by jagged cliffs and deep chasms. Gunter often travels across this terrain, moving along short paths carved through the snow. The creature's steps leave small imprints that vanish under drifting frost. Yet the path remains familiar. Many inhabitants of U avoid this region due to the harsh conditions, but Gunter traverses it without difficulty. The cold is not a burden. It is a constant companion that has shaped every part of the creature's daily existence. Although the Ice Kingdom appears empty to outsiders, it is full of quiet life. Other penguins wander in loose groups, slipping across the ice or gathering near the base of frozen structures. Gunter interacts with them occasionally, but always maintains a certain distance. These other penguins behave like ordinary animals, while Gunter moves with intention. That distinction does not isolate Gunter completely, yet it creates a silent boundary. The creature exists among them without fully blending in. The palace is filled with long corridors that lead to chambers used for different purposes. One area is dedicated to magical oddities collected by the Ice King during his countless journeys and impulsive searches. Another space contains piles of mundane objects gathered for uncertain reasons. Gunter often wanders through these areas, pausing to inspect items or shifting them subtly. The creature's choices appear random to an outside observer, but they are driven by a sense of curiosity, shaped by years of exposure to both ordinary objects and enchanted artifacts. The Ice King's presence shapes the overall tone of life in the palace. He drifts through the kingdom in cycles, sometimes energetic, sometimes withdrawn. Gunter follows these patterns with patience. When the Ice King becomes restless, Gunter often moves nearby, observing quietly. When the Ice King isolates himself, the creature continues its own routine, allowing the palace to settle back into calm. This dynamic creates a rhythm that blends unpredictability with steadiness. Gunter's role is not to control the palace, but to inhabit it in a way that softens its extremes. There is also a sense of guardianship woven into Gunter's daily existence. The creature watches the entrances of the palace, notices changes in the wind when someone approaches, and reacts quickly when disturbances occur. Most of the time, these reactions remain subtle. A shift in posture, a glance toward the entrance, a quiet movement across the ice. These moments create an impression that Gunter understands the kingdom's vulnerability more clearly than the Ice King does. The creature's awareness contributes to the palace's stability even when the Ice King is distracted. Magical occurrences are common within the Ice Kingdom. Objects activate spontaneously, spells linger in the air, and the castle shifts shape under the influence of the crown. Gunter has learnt to navigate these unpredictable events with ease. When magic flares, the creature steps back or readjusts with precise timing. When the ice shifts, Gunter finds new paths with little hesitation. This adaptability reflects a mind that recognizes patterns in chaos and moves through them calmly. The creature has lived long enough in this enchanted environment to treat magical outbursts as natural elements of everyday life. The Ice Kingdom is also a place of isolation. Few outsiders stay long, and most who visit do so out of necessity rather than curiosity. Gunter experiences this solitude without discomfort. The frozen silence becomes an atmosphere that supports reflection and observation. Time stretches within the castle's walls, creating long periods where the only sounds are the gentle winds and the soft echoes of movement. Gunter moves through these moments without restlessness, finding comfort in the quiet that surrounds the kingdom. Even though the Ice Kingdom feels barren, it holds subtle beauty. The walls shimmer under scattered light, casting moving reflections across the floors. Crystals form along the edges of chambers, creating shapes that resemble natural sculptures. Snowdrifts appear like soft waves made from powdered frost. Gunter moves through this landscape with familiarity, treating the palace like an extension of its own body. Every step seems intentional, as if guided by an internal map formed over years of living among frozen structures. The relationship between Gunter and the Ice Kingdom is not defined by servitude or ownership. It is defined by coexistence. The palace shapes Gunter, and in quieter ways, Gunter shapes the palace. The creature's behavior influences the daily flow of the kingdom, even when the Ice King does not realize it. Items placed in new positions, pathways cleared of clutter, and subtle adjustments to the environment are all reflections of Gunter's presence. These actions create a delicate balance that allows the Ice Kingdom to function despite the chaos inherent in the Ice King's life. Life within the Ice Kingdom also reveals Gunter's resilience. The environment is harsh, but the creature thrives. The cold never slows Gunter. The long winters never tire it. The changing structure of the palace never confuses it. These traits show that Gunter is not simply surviving, but thriving in a place built from enchanted ice and scattered memories. This resilience hints at a deeper nature that supports the creature in ways not immediately visible through the penguin form. Visitors often misunderstand the Ice Kingdom, viewing it only as a place of danger or instability. They overlook the quiet routines that allow the palace to remain functional. Gunter observes these outsiders carefully, evaluating their presence and determining whether they pose a threat. The creature does not act openly during these moments, but every motion becomes intentional. This subtle form of vigilance contributes to the kingdom's ability to withstand disruptions. Even when conflict arises, Gunter maintains a composed presence that helps stabilize the environment. The Ice King's unpredictable behavior creates a unique challenge for any creature living near him. His emotions shift rapidly, influenced by the crown and shaped by memories he cannot fully access. This instability might create chaos for most beings, but Gunter handles it with quiet acceptance. The creature's routine adjusts seamlessly to the Ice King's changing state. When the Ice King becomes absorbed in a hobby, Gunter continues its tasks without interference. When the Ice King grows distressed, Gunter navigates the palace with care, avoiding actions that might aggravate the king's already fragile mindset. These adaptations show how deeply Gunter understands the nature of life within the Ice Kingdom. The creature does not resist the environment's instability. It absorbs the atmosphere and moves with it. The palace responds in turn, maintaining a rhythm that feels almost natural for a place dominated by ice and shaped by magical volatility. Gunter's presence contributes to this rhythm, creating a steady undercurrent that holds the palace together through countless moments of confusion or upheaval. The Ice Kingdom is more than a location. It is a living space shaped by magic, memory, and emotional energy. Gunter's life within this environment reveals a creature capable of navigating complexity with surprising ease. The frozen halls, shifting walls, wandering penguins, and unstable atmosphere form a world that Gunter understands intimately. This understanding is not born from instinct alone. It emerges from a deeper awareness, shaped by long exposure to both the palace and the ancient power that lies dormant within the creature's core. Gunter's place within the Ice Kingdom is quiet but essential. The creature follows its routines without demanding attention, yet its presence influences everything around it. The balance of the palace, the behavior of its inhabitants, and the slow rhythm of daily life all carry traces of Gunter's subtle guidance. Life in the Ice Kingdom is harsh, but Gunter thrives within it because the creature understands its structure on a level that blends instinct with hidden memory. This connection forms a foundation for everything that unfolds later, where the truth behind Gunter's identity begins to rise through the frost that surrounds the palace. Life in the Ice Kingdom places Gunter in constant proximity to the Ice King, creating a relationship shaped by routine, emotion, and a complex blend of companionship and distance. The Ice King's palace stands as a structure built from enchanted ice, but it also reflects the fractured identity of the man who inhabits it. Within this environment, Gunter becomes one of the few steady presences that interacts with him daily. Their relationship forms slowly, not through overt displays of affection, but through shared space, repeated moments, and the quiet patterns of life that develop when two beings coexist for long stretches of time. The Ice King lives under the continuous influence of the crown, a magical object that shapes his thoughts, moods, and actions. His personality drifts between joy, frustration, confusion, and sorrow. These emotional shifts echo through the palace, altering the tone of each day. Gunter learns to navigate these changes with a kind of patience that becomes a core part of the creature's identity. When the Ice King becomes restless, Gunter remains near him, observing his movements with silent understanding. When the Ice King retreats into isolation, Gunter continues its routine without pushing for attention, allowing the atmosphere to settle naturally. The Ice King often surrounds himself with various penguins, but Gunter occupies a place that none of the others hold. While many penguins drift through the halls in loose groups, following instinct, Gunter remains close to the Ice King, with an awareness that reflects more than simple loyalty. The creature understands the patterns of the Ice King's behavior better than anyone else in the palace. It recognizes when the Ice King is about to become fixated on a new distraction. It senses when he is about to fall into one of his rare contemplative moods. This awareness shapes their bond, creating a connection built from observation and quiet anticipation. Throughout their time together, the Ice King directs many of his impulses toward Gunter. He calls upon the creature to assist him, confide in him, or react to moments of excitement. Gunter responds with a mixture of obedience and independence. Sometimes the creature follows along with the Ice King's enthusiasm, performing tasks that maintain the flow of the king's activities. Other times, Gunter resists in small ways, refusing an instruction by simply turning away or wandering off. This interplay reveals a relationship that is neither servile nor equal. It exists in a middle ground, defined by familiarity and quiet negotiation. Loneliness is one of the strongest forces shaping the Ice King's life. The crown has altered his mind, leaving him isolated even when surrounded by beings he considers companions. Gunter becomes a steady presence in this isolation. The creature's silence fills the empty spaces where conversation cannot exist. Gunter's simple movements create a sense of life within the palace that protects the Ice King from complete solitude. Although the Ice King does not fully understand why he feels drawn to Gunter, the bond persists because it offers him a form of comfort that no magical object or visitor can provide. There are times when the Ice King's behavior becomes chaotic. His emotions surge unpredictably, leading him to act impulsively. During these moments, Gunter handles the situation with surprising composure. Instead of reacting with confusion, the creature often remains steady, moving around the Ice King in a way that redirects his focus or stabilizes the atmosphere of the room. These actions suggest that Gunter recognizes the Ice King's emotional fragility and responds with a quiet form of care. Even though Gunter displays mischief and unpredictability in other aspects of life, the creature becomes grounded when the Ice King's mood demands balance. The Ice King values companionship, even when he cannot express it clearly. His attempts to bond with others often fail because his behavior, shaped by the crown, pushes people away. Gunter becomes one of the few companions who stays without question. The creature does not flee from the Ice King's moods or judge his eccentricities. Instead, Gunter accepts them as part of life in the palace. This acceptance becomes a stabilizing force that gives the Ice King something constant in a world shaped by fluctuating identity. Gunter's presence influences the Ice King in ways he does not fully grasp. The simple act of having a creature that occupies the palace consistently helps structure his days. Gunter moves through the halls, guiding the Ice King through repeated routines. These routines reduce the emptiness of the kingdom by creating familiar patterns. Even if the Ice King does not consciously acknowledge the importance of these patterns, they become a backbone for his daily existence. Gunter organizes the palace in subtle ways, nudging items back into place, clearing paths through clutter, or reacting to magical disturbances. These actions create order that the Ice King rarely creates himself. At the same time, Gunter adds a layer of unpredictability to the Ice King's life. The creature engages in mischief, creating small disturbances that distract the king from destructive impulses. These moments of trouble add a strange sense of normalcy to the palace. They offer the Ice King something to react to, giving him small tasks that occupy his mind and keep him engaged with the world around him. This interplay between order and disruption forms a balance that becomes essential to the Ice King's mental stability. There is also a quiet emotional thread that runs between them. Even though the Ice King's understanding of relationships has been altered, he feels a connection to Gunter that surpasses the bonds he forms with the other penguins. He senses something familiar in this creature without recognizing the true source of that familiarity. Perhaps it is the consistency of Gunter's presence. Perhaps it is the creature's ability to remain calm during chaos. Perhaps it is the unconscious recognition of something hidden within Gunter's identity, something that resonates with the lost fragments of Simon buried deep beneath the crown's magic. Whatever the reason, the Ice King gravitates toward Gunter again and again. Gunter's behavior shifts subtly depending on the Ice King's state of mind. When the king becomes excited about an idea, Gunter sometimes follows with quiet encouragement, allowing the activity to unfold without interruption. When the king becomes frustrated, Gunter often retreats or observes from a distance, giving him space to settle. When the king feels sorrow, Gunter remains close by, offering the steady presence of another living being. These shifts show an understanding that comes from long exposure to the Ice King's emotional patterns. In many ways, Gunter has learned to read the king's moods better than anyone else. Their relationship also contains a form of dependency, though it is not one-sided. The Ice King depends on Gunter for companionship, stability, and routine. Gunter depends on the Ice King for shelter, environmental stability, and access to the magical energy that shapes the palace. Although the creature holds an ancient identity hidden beneath layers of present existence, the penguin form adapts to life in the Ice Kingdom as though it were always meant to be there. The Ice King's presence offers consistency that allows Gunter's daily life to unfold without disruption. Despite the connection between them, their relationship is not one of emotional transparency. The Ice King cannot fully comprehend Gunter's complex nature, and Gunter cannot reveal what lies beneath its penguin form. The two coexist without clear understanding, yet the lack of understanding does not prevent them from forming a bond. Their connection is shaped by actions, shared space, and the steady rhythms of life in the palace. This form of companionship aligns with the world of the Ice Kingdom, where emotional expression often freezes beneath the surface. There are moments when the Ice King tries to assert authority over Gunter, treating the creature as a subordinate. Gunter responds to these attempts with selective obedience. The creature participates when it chooses to, yet maintains an independence that prevents the Ice King from controlling it completely. This dynamic frustrates the Ice King at times, but it also keeps him grounded. Gunter's independence provides a counterbalance to the king's impulses, preventing the palace from falling into complete chaos. Even though the Ice King remains unaware of Gunter's deeper nature, their relationship reflects a kind of symmetry. Both carry identities shaped by lost history. Both exist under the weight of transformations imposed by forces beyond their control. Both move through the world with layers of forgotten memories beneath their current forms. This symmetry creates an unspoken connection between them, even if neither fully senses it. Their lives intertwine because they understand the rhythms of isolation, transformation, and magical influence in ways that resonate with one another. Over time, their companionship becomes a defining element of life in the Ice Kingdom. The palace no longer feels empty because Gunter's presence brings motion and awareness to its frozen halls. The Ice King no longer faces the full weight of solitude because he has developed routines that involve the creature in nearly every part of his daily life. These subtle bonds create a form of stability that allows the palace to persist despite the emotional turbulence that surrounds it. The relationship between Gunter and the Ice King is built on small moments rather than grand expressions. It unfolds through shared routines, the quiet acceptance of each other's flaws, and the consistent presence that each brings to the frozen palace. Gunter becomes a rare constant in the Ice King's life, and the Ice King becomes the anchor of Gunter's present existence. This bond, shaped by cold air, scattered memories, and the strange atmosphere of the Ice Kingdom, becomes one of the most important connections that defines Gunter's current identity. Gunter moves through the Ice Kingdom with a pattern of behavior that invites curiosity long before any deeper truth comes to light. The creature appears to follow the routines of a simple penguin, yet moments of unusual awareness and unpredictable action interrupt that appearance. These contradictions create an atmosphere of mystery around Gunter. The small frame suggests innocence, but the behavior reveals layers that do not fit the expected limits of an ordinary animal. The result is a creature whose personality blends instinct with a strange, almost deliberate intelligence. The Ice Kingdom provides a setting where unusual behavior becomes easy to overlook. The palace is filled with magical objects, unstable walls, and the shifting emotions of the Ice King. In this environment, Gunter's actions often blend into the chaos, disguised as part of the strange world the Ice King has created. Yet, even within this environment, Gunter stands out. The creature behaves in ways that suggest an internal logic, as if each decision springs from a mind assessing the situation with a standard different from what other penguins would use. One of the most noticeable aspects of Gunter's behavior is a tendency toward mischief that feels too calculated to be random. The creature often knocks over objects, steals items from the Ice King, or disrupts activities in ways that seem intentional rather than impulsive. The targets of these actions are not chosen without thought. Gunter selects items with significance, whether magical or personal. These actions create a sense that the creature is testing limits, gathering information, or fulfilling needs that remain hidden beneath the surface. The mischief carries purpose, even when that purpose is not immediately clear. This tendency toward mischief does not rely solely on physical actions. Gunter displays a form of emotional mischief as well. The creature often positions itself in ways that influence the Ice King's mood. Sometimes, this influence softens the king's frustration. Other times, it intensifies his excitement. These small manipulations appear subtle, yet they demonstrate an understanding of the Ice King's emotional vulnerabilities. Gunter steps in and out of these moments with an ease that indicates familiarity with the king's patterns. The creature knows how to push, ease, or provoke without revealing that it is doing so. Another part of Gunter's mystery lies in the creature's response to magic. The palace contains enchanted objects that range from harmless trinkets to dangerous relics. Most creatures in U would treat these objects with caution or confusion. Gunter, however, interacts with them as though they are familiar tools. The creature handles magical items with confidence, testing their properties, using them to solve small problems, or manipulating them with unexpected skill. This behavior creates a striking contrast with the penguin's simple appearance. It suggests that Gunter recognizes the nature of magic through an intuition shaped by knowledge that predates the Ice Kingdom. The creature's reactions to magical disturbances further highlight this deeper awareness. When the palace shifts shape due to the crown's fluctuating power, Gunter often remains unbothered. When spells ripple through the air, the creature pauses as if evaluating the energy before deciding how to respond. Sometimes Gunter steps back, letting the magic pass. Other times, Gunter moves toward the source, showing a strange attraction to magical forces. These reactions reveal a familiarity that cannot be explained by instinct alone. The creature behaves as though magical disturbances are part of a world it once knew intimately. Observations from those who visit the Ice Kingdom also contribute to the sense of mystery surrounding Gunter. Outsiders often notice that the penguin behaves in ways that feel out of place. Some sense unease when Gunter stares at them with an intensity that does not match the appearance of a small animal. Others feel as if Gunter is observing them not as a creature watching a stranger, but as an entity evaluating a presence. This effect is subtle, yet repeated. Although visitors cannot articulate why the penguin feels unusual, they react instinctively to the hidden awareness behind the round eyes. Gunter's behavior changes depending on the presence of the Ice King. When the king moves through the palace, Gunter often follows closely, giving the impression of devotion. However, when the Ice King is absent or distracted, Gunter's actions shift into patterns that appear more focused. The creature explores areas of the palace with intention, interacts with objects as if testing their properties, and studies the environment in ways that suggest a deeper agenda. These shifts indicate that the creature's behavior is not driven solely by loyalty to the Ice King, but by an internal rhythm that predates their relationship. There is also a peculiar mix of gentleness and aggression within Gunter's behavior. At times, the creature displays soft, almost nurturing actions, tending to small tasks or approaching the Ice King with calm steadiness. At other times, Gunter becomes surprisingly aggressive, striking out with sudden force that feels disproportionate to the creature's size. These bursts of aggression appear without obvious cause, yet they reflect a power that lies beneath the surface. The combination of tenderness and strength creates a contradiction that deepens the mystery. The creature is neither simply gentle nor inherently hostile. It contains both qualities, shifting between them according to an inner logic. Observing Gunter during quiet moments reveals another layer of unusual behavior. When left alone, the creature sometimes pauses as if lost in contemplation. Gunter will sit in stillness, facing the icy walls, unmoving for long periods. These moments feel too deliberate to be passive. They have the eerie quality of something remembering, thinking, or waiting. The palace surrounding Gunter remains unchanged during these periods, yet the creature's posture suggests a mind touching on memories that lie far beyond the cold confines of the Ice Kingdom. Gunter's interactions with other penguins highlight another strange aspect of its behavior. The creature often stands apart from the group, observing rather than participating. The other penguins operate on instinct, moving in patterns that reflect simple responses to their environment. Gunter behaves with purpose, separating itself from the group even when joining them physically. This separation does not appear rooted in superiority or fear. It stems from a sense of difference, as though Gunter understands that its identity does not align with the rest of the flock. The creature exists among them without belonging to them. Another trait that contributes to the mystery is Gunter's unique approach to problem solving. When challenges arise, the creature often finds solutions that suggest strategic thinking. These solutions can be simple or surprisingly clever, depending on the situation. Gunter pushes objects into place to create makeshift tools, uses magical items with understanding, and reacts to threats with reflexes that exceed the capabilities of a normal penguin. These behaviors form a pattern that reveals intelligence hidden beneath the surface. Gunter's small size does not limit its ability to assess and respond to the world around it. The overall impression created by these behaviors is a creature living with layers of awareness and instinct intertwined. Gunter acts through the penguin body, yet the decisions and reactions hint at something deeper. The creature's movements often feel guided by traces of an identity that cannot be fully expressed through its current form. These traces appear in moments of intensity, moments of quiet reflection, and moments influenced by the magic that saturates the palace. They form a network of subtle signs that point toward a truth concealed beneath years of simplicity. Gunter's mystery grows as these signs accumulate. Each unusual action adds weight to the sense that the creature's identity extends beyond what anyone in the Ice Kingdom has recognized. The penguin form masks layers of history, power, and intention, yet these layers continue to push through in bursts of behavior that cannot be explained by instinct alone. The result is a presence that feels both familiar and unsettling. Gunter's routines appear ordinary, but the mind behind them carries an ancient resonance, waiting quietly beneath the frost of the palace. These contradictions create a portrait of a being that does not fit into a single category. Gunter is mischievous, intelligent, instinctive, observant, gentle, and occasionally violent. Each aspect reveals only a fraction of the full identity. The creature's behavior unfolds as a mosaic of clues, each hinting at a past that has not yet surfaced. These hints create an atmosphere of quiet tension, as if something old and powerful rests beneath the surface of a life built from ice and routine. The mystery of Gunter's behavior is not rooted in confusion, but in layers of identity that do not reveal themselves at once. The creature lives through a form shaped by the Ice Kingdom, yet carries a presence shaped by something far older. These layers coexist without merging, creating a being that moves between worlds without revealing the full truth of its nature. Each unusual action adds depth to this mystery, preparing the path for the revelations that will unfold in the chapters to come. The Ice Kingdom presents itself as a realm defined by cold, simplicity, and the unpredictable habits of its ruler, yet beneath this frozen landscape lie traces of older forces that once shaped distant parts of the universe. Gunter lives inside this environment as a creature that appears small and harmless, but subtle signs begin to reveal a presence that does not belong solely to the world of ice and snow. These signs do not emerge all at once. They arrive quietly, scattered through moments that seem insignificant at first glance. Only when considered together do they form the outline of a power that does not match the body it inhabits. The first hints appear through strength. While the penguin form suggests limited physical capability, Gunter occasionally demonstrates force that surpasses what the creature's body should allow. These displays are brief, almost casual, as if the creature is not aware of the strength it uses. Gunter shatters objects with ease, lifts items too heavy for its small frame, and withstands impacts that would injure most animals of similar size. These bursts of power do not align with the gentle appearance of the creature and raise questions about what lies beneath the feathered exterior. The Ice Kingdom is filled with enchanted objects collected by the Ice King. Many of these items carry dormant power, unstable enchantments, or remnants of magic tied to ancient forces. Gunter interacts with these items in ways that reveal an unusual sensitivity. The creature approaches them without fear, touches them without hesitation, and occasionally activates effects that the Ice King himself cannot trigger. These reactions do not appear accidental. Gunter treats magical energies as if they are familiar, responding with a calmness that suggests past exposure to forces far beyond the frozen palace. One of the most striking signs of hidden power lies in the creature's resilience. The Ice Kingdom experiences frequent magical disruptions caused by the Ice King's emotional swings and the Crown's influence. Spells surge through the halls unexpectedly. Bursts of energy ripple across the ice. Temperatures shift abruptly as the palace reacts to the instability of its ruler. While other creatures scatter or falter during these disturbances, Gunter stands firm. The creature endures the fluctuations without fear or confusion, displaying a resistance that seems unnatural for a simple penguin. This resilience hints at a deeper endurance, shaped by something older than the ice itself. Another sign of Gunter's hidden nature comes through instinctive reactions to cosmic phenomena. The skies above Oo sometimes crackle with strange lights, meteor trails, or magical storms that drift from distant realms. During these events, Gunter behaves with uncharacteristic alertness. The creature looks upward with a stillness that feels heavy with recognition. The posture shifts, the gaze sharpens, and an eerie quiet fills the space around it. These moments suggest that Gunter senses forces far beyond the reach of ordinary beings, reacting as if the sky carries memories long forgotten. Hints of cosmic influence also appear in Gunter's relationship with the Ice King. Their connection is shaped by companionship and routine, but Gunter's reactions to the king's magic carry a level of understanding that feels too precise to be instinctive. The creature knows when the crown's power fluctuates. It senses when the Ice King is about to unleash a wave of magic, and often repositions itself in anticipation. This level of awareness suggests that Gunter perceives magical forces at a depth that surpasses the Ice King's own understanding. The creature reads patterns in the magical energy around him, as if it has known such power in another form. Occasionally, Gunter displays a strange attraction to sources of great magical significance. When objects tied to ancient histories appear, the creature takes notice. Sometimes Gunter approaches them with fascination. Other times, the creature reacts with caution, as if the presence of these objects stirs something buried within. These reactions vary, but they all point toward a connection that predates the creature's life in the Ice Kingdom. The body of a penguin cannot explain why certain artifacts draw such intense focus. The explanation lies deeper, within layers of identity that have not yet risen to the surface. Another hint of cosmic power lies in Gunter's influence on magical events. The creature occasionally sets off magical reactions simply by being near enchanted objects. These reactions do not always follow the rules of the Ice King's magic. They shift the environment in ways that feel ancient, almost as if the palace responds to a presence it does not fully recognize. When these events occur, the atmosphere changes. The air becomes heavy, the ice hums faintly, and the sense of dormant power creeps through the halls. These disturbances become more noticeable as time passes, each one growing slightly stronger than the last. Gunter's awareness of danger also provides insight into the creature's hidden identity. Threats to the Ice Kingdom come in various forms, ranging from magical disturbances to unwanted visitors. When these threats appear, Gunter often reacts before others notice anything unusual. The creature positions itself strategically, watching the source of the disturbance with calculating focus. This behavior reveals more than survival instinct. It demonstrates a mind that recognizes the presence of danger with precision, as though sensing patterns that others cannot perceive. Such awareness suggests experience with conflict that extends beyond life as a small creature in a frozen palace. A more subtle indication of cosmic power arises through dreams. While the show does not explore Gunter's dreams directly, the creature occasionally behaves upon waking as though responding to visions or memories. These moments appear in the form of sudden decisions, shifts in attention, or unexplained changes in mood. The creature may move to a new location with urgency or approach an object with renewed interest. These actions imply that some internal process guides Gunter in ways that surpass simple instinct. Dreams or memories from another life may shape these reactions, creating a blend of present experience and distant recollection. The Ice King's palace often becomes a stage for events that blur the boundary between the physical and the mystical. Gunter stands at the center of these events more frequently than coincidence would allow. When magical storms sweep through the kingdom, the creature sometimes positions itself at the heart of the disturbance, unaffected by the intensity. When ancient energy leaks into the palace, Gunter reacts with stillness rather than fear, as if recognizing the nature of the power that enters. These patterns reinforce the idea that Gunter's identity connects to forces that existed long before the Ice Kingdom formed. Another peculiar trait emerges when Gunter interacts with beings of great power. Creatures and entities that hold significant influence within U often react to Gunter with confusion or caution. Some sense an unusual presence within the penguin, even if they cannot articulate it. Their reactions reveal discomfort or curiosity, suggesting that they recognize a trace of something familiar yet distant. This response becomes a powerful indicator that Gunter carries an essence tied to realms beyond U, an essence that resonates with beings capable of sensing power buried beneath the surface. These hints of cosmic identity do not overshadow Gunter's daily behaviors. The creature continues to act like a penguin for most of its life in the Ice Kingdom, maintaining routines shaped by the environment and the presence of the Ice King. However, the contrast between simplicity and hidden power becomes more pronounced over time. The creature's mischief takes on a new tone when viewed through the lens of ancient influence. The strength, resilience, and magical awareness appear less like quirks and more like fragments of a deeper identity rising slowly through the layers of the present form. This slow emergence of cosmic traits forms a foundation for the revelations that follow in later parts of the story. Even before anyone in U learns the truth behind Gunter's origin, the signs remain visible to those who pay attention. Every unusual reaction, every burst of power, and every moment of uncanny awareness echoes a history that stretches far beyond the frozen cliffs of the Ice Kingdom. The penguin shape serves as a container for something vast, and the hints of cosmic force slip through the cracks of that container like light shining through thin ice. The presence of this hidden power adds weight to the mystery surrounding Gunter's identity. The creature does not reveal its past, yet the past emerges through instinctive reactions, unexplained behaviors, and subtle displays of strength. These signs suggest that the life Gunter lives now is only one part of a much larger story, shaped by forces that once moved through distant corners of the universe. This ancient influence remains dormant, waiting quietly beneath the surface, ready to rise when the conditions align. The hints surrounding Gunter's nature begin as scattered moments, but they eventually lead toward a truth that reshapes the understanding of the creature entirely. Beneath the round penguin body lies a history far older and more powerful than anything found in the Ice Kingdom. This truth emerges not through a sudden shift, but through a gradual alignment of signs. Each instance of unusual strength, each display of magical awareness, and each moment of eerie focus converges toward the revelation that Gunter is not merely an ordinary creature, but the diminished form of an ancient entity once known as Orgalorg. Orgalorg existed long before the Ice King's palace ever formed, long before U took its current shape. It belonged to a realm of cosmic power where beings moved between worlds in pursuit of influence, knowledge, or conquest. Orgalorg was one of these beings, a creature of immense might, whose actions affected planets and civilizations without hesitation. The entity's identity was shaped by ambition, awareness, and an understanding of forces that shaped the fabric of existence. This ancient nature stands in sharp contrast to the penguin form that now wanders across frozen floors, creating a tension between past and present that defines Gunter's story. The transition from Orgalorg to Gunter did not happen by choice. It resulted from a downfall that stripped the cosmic entity of power and memory. This fall involved forces far beyond the Ice Kingdom, forces capable of reshaping identities on a fundamental level. Orgalorg's attempts to extend influence brought the entity into conflict with beings who recognized the threat and acted to prevent it. As a result, Orgalorg lost access to the full expanse of its abilities, fell through the vastness of space, and crashed into the distant past of Earth. The impact transformed the cosmic being into the body of a penguin, burying its ancient identity beneath layers of instinct and new experience. This transformation created a unique existence where two identities coexist within a single form. The creature that walks through the Ice Kingdom is shaped by the life it has lived as a penguin, yet fragments of Orgalorg remain buried within. These fragments emerge through instinctive reactions to cosmic stimuli, sudden displays of strength, and moments when the creature's gaze sharpens with awareness that has no connection to life in the frozen palace. The tension between these two identities forms a central part of the mystery surrounding Gunter. The penguin body serves as a shell, while the ancient presence within remains dormant, waiting for circumstances that might stir it awake. The revelation that Gunter is Orgalorg does not erase the creature's daily life. Instead, it casts a new light on every behavior observed across the Ice Kingdom. Actions that once seemed mischievous now appear layered with potential meaning. Moments of resilience reveal themselves as remnants of cosmic strength. The calmness in the face of magical chaos reflects familiarity with power that predates the Ice King's influence. The creature's fascination with enchanted objects gains new significance, hinting at memories that lie buried deep within the layers of its current identity. Understanding that Gunter is the diminished form of Orgalorg also explains why the creature reacts so strongly to certain magical phenomena. Cosmic energy resonates with something ancient inside the penguin, stirring feelings that rise instinctively even when Gunter cannot recall the full memory behind them. When meteors streak across the sky, or when magical disturbances ripple through Gunter behaves with a sense of recognition that feels older than the world it now inhabits. This recognition serves as a reminder that the creature once moved among stars and shaped forces far beyond the icy landscape of the palace. The Ice King, unaware of this deeper truth, continues to treat Gunter as a companion, a helper, and occasionally a source of frustration. Yet their relationship intersects with this revelation in ways neither fully understands. The Ice King's own identity is shaped by transformation, memory loss, and the influence of a magical object that changed his life forever. Gunter carries a similar burden, although its transformation occurred through cosmic punishment rather than magical corruption. This parallel creates an unspoken connection between them. Both exist as remnants of former selves, living through new identities shaped by forces beyond their control. The revelation of Orgalorg also ties Gunter to the broader structure of the universe within Adventure Time. The world of is not merely a post-apocalyptic landscape shaped by magic and mutation. It exists within a cosmos filled with entities of great power. Some of these beings influence the world directly, while others appear only in traces or legends. Orgalorg belongs to this group of cosmic forces, whose actions echo across realms. Gunter's presence in becomes part of a much larger story, linking the Ice Kingdom to histories that stretch far beyond the planet's surface. As Gunter's true identity slowly reveals itself, subtle shifts in behavior begin to align with the dormant power inside. The creature occasionally pauses during storms that involve celestial forces, standing still as if listening to something inaudible. The round eyes, usually expressive with simple curiosity, sometimes hold a depth that does not match the penguin form. In rare moments, Gunter positions itself as though reclaiming a posture that belonged to Orgalorg. These glimpses create a sense that the ancient entity still exists within, waiting for a moment when the balance between the two identities might tilt. The transformation into Gunter did more than suppress Orgalorg. It forced the entity to live within a world it once viewed from a great distance. Through years spent in the Ice Kingdom, the ancient presence inside Gunter experiences emotions and routines that never existed in its cosmic life. The warmth of companionship, the rhythm of daily tasks, and the small rituals of living near the Ice King shape the creature in new ways. These experiences add layers to the identity of Orgalorg, creating a blend of cosmic memory and earthly routine that forms something entirely unique. The ancient power remains, but it now shares space with the lived experiences of a life in The revelation of Orgalorg also explains why certain creatures in react to Gunter with unease. Those attuned to magic sense something beneath the penguin's form, something that does not belong to the world of snow and ice. Their reactions are not born from fear of the penguin itself, but from recognition of the presence hidden inside it. Even if Gunter does not acknowledge this presence consciously, the ancient identity occasionally radiates through subtle actions, revealing itself to those capable of perceiving its depth. As the dormant essence of Orgalorg stirs, the Ice Kingdom becomes a setting for moments when the cosmic nature surfaces briefly. During these moments, the palace feels different. The air thickens with a sense of tension. the light inside the ice reflects with unusual sharpness. Gunter behaves with purpose rather than instinct, moving with confidence that belongs to the ancient entity rather than the small creature. These moments pass quickly, but they serve as reminders that the penguin form cannot fully contain the presence within. The duality of Gunter's identity forms a delicate balance. The creature lives between two extremes: the innocent existence of a penguin and the ancient legacy of a cosmic being. This tension defines each movement, each reaction, and each moment of stillness. The revelation of Orgalorg does not transform Gunter on a physical level, but it brings clarity to the subtle contradictions that shape the creature's life. The penguin body remains, but the truth of Orgalorg continues to echo within, waiting to rise fully when the right circumstances emerge. Understanding that Gunter is Orgalorg gives meaning to the creature's many contradictions. The small form hides immense potential. The mischief masks ancient instincts. The quiet moments carry echoes of cosmic memory. The Ice Kingdom becomes a place where this identity rests in a dormant state, influenced by the cold, the magic, and the presence of the Ice King. The creature that waddles across icy floors embodies a history that stretches across the universe, blending distant power with the simplicity of its current life. This revelation marks a turning point in Gunter's existence, not through outward transformation, but through the understanding that the creature holds a story shaped by both cosmic force and earthly experience. The ancient identity remains within, connected to a past filled with ambition and power, yet softened by years spent in a world shaped by magic, companionship, and routine. Gunter continues to live as a penguin, but the truth of Orgalorg endures beneath each step, forming a foundation for everything that will unfold as the dormant presence moves closer to waking. Long before Gunter wandered across the icy floors of the Ice Kingdom, the being now hidden within that small form moved through the cosmos with intent and ambition. Orgalorg existed as a force of immense power, shaped by an ancient era where vast entities navigated threads between worlds. This existence carried purpose and clarity, granting Orgalorg influence that stretched far beyond the surface of any single planet. Yet this era came to an end when the cosmic order shifted against the being, setting into motion the event that would ultimately transform Orgalorg into Gunter. The fall of Orgalorg began with a desire to reach a level of control that crossed boundaries, protected by forces older than the worlds themselves. The entity sought access to greater power, planning to draw strength from celestial events that occur only under specific cosmic alignments. This ambition threatened the balance maintained by higher beings who watched over the structure of reality. The entity's intentions did not go unnoticed. The cosmos itself responded, not through chaos, but through regulation, enforced by those capable of shaping the destiny of ancient beings. A confrontation unfolded that did not involve physical battle, but a clash of authority, will, and cosmic law. Orgalorg faced beings whose power exceeded even its own. These beings acted without hesitation to prevent the entity from achieving its goal. Their decision did not destroy Orgalorg, but instead reshaped the being's existence entirely. The entity was stripped of its cosmic abilities, severed from the energy that once flowed through its form, and forced into a weakened state that no longer resembled its true nature. This punishment served as both exile and transformation. With power removed, Orgalorg was cast out of the cosmic realm. The entity fell through space, tumbling across distances that would take lifetimes for ordinary beings to cross. The descent was not a simple drop. It was a collapse of Conry identity, a loss of memory, and a breaking of form. Everything that once defined Orgalorg scattered during the fall. What remained was a fragment of the former self, drifting through the darkness of the universe with no control over its destination. The descent ended when the weakened being struck the surface of ancient Earth. The impact was neither gentle nor quiet. It carved a path into the land, sending energy ripples through the planet's surface. When the dust settled, the great cosmic being no longer existed in its known shape. The universe had reshaped Orgalorg into a small, powerless creature. The form given was that of a penguin, a body incapable of holding or expressing the full weight of the ancient identity. The transformation was complete, locking Orgalorg inside a physical shape far removed from any cosmic origin. This new form came with limitations. The penguin body lacked the strength, intelligence, and magical connection that once belonged to the cosmic entity. Memories of past power faded, replaced by instincts shaped by the creature's new existence. The ancient awareness did not vanish entirely, but sank deep into the mind, buried beneath layers of adaptation required to survive in the environment where the being now lived. The fall had severed Orgalorg from its former purpose, reducing the entity to a state where it could exist unnoticed among the natural creatures of Earth. In the centuries that followed the impact, the cosmic presence remained dormant. The land around the crash site changed, shaped by shifts in climate and the effects of time. The penguin form moved with other creatures, adapting to a life defined not by ambition but by simple needs. The ancient identity rested quietly within, unable to rise without a trigger powerful enough to break through the layers formed by earthly experience. The fall had created a barrier that protected U from the return of a being once capable of planetary destruction. The fragment of memory left behind did not disappear. It resurfaced in small moments when the penguin reacted to celestial events with instinctive tension, or when the creature encountered relics tied to ancient power. These reactions appeared meaningless on the surface, but each one carried the echo of Orgalorg. The fall had diminished the cosmic being, but not erased it entirely. The essence remained intact, even if trapped within a form that could not express its true nature. When the world changed after the Great Mushroom War and the era of U began, the penguin that once was Orgalorg continued to exist quietly among new landscapes shaped by magic and mutation. Eventually, the creature came into the orbit of the Ice King, drawn into a life within the frozen palace. The presence of magic in the Ice Kingdom created a subtle resonance with the ancient essence hidden in the penguin's mind. Spells, energy surges, and the crown's influence stirred faint memories, though not enough to fully awaken the cosmic identity. The fall had placed layers between the past and the present that could not easily be broken. Understanding the fall of Orgalorg also explains the tension that occasionally emerges in Gunter's behaviour. The ancient identity pushes against the limits of the penguin form in moments of stress, emotion, or exposure to magic. These brief flashes do not restore full memory, but reveal remnants of the cosmic being. A sudden glare, a shift in posture, or a display of force serves as a reminder that the fall did not destroy the essence of Orgalorg. It merely hid it. The cosmic beings responsible for Orgalorg's downfall acted to preserve balance on a scale far larger than U. Their decision reflects the rules that govern entities of immense power. Orgalorg's attempt to expand influence threatened this structure, forcing a response that reshaped the entity's existence permanently. This history underscores the idea that even within a universe filled with magic, strange beings, there are forces that maintain order in ways beyond the understanding of those who inhabit lower planes. The fall created a paradox within the creature now known as Gunter. The penguin form embodies innocence and simplicity, yet the being inside carries history marked by ambition, conflict, and cosmic authority. These two layers coexist without merging completely. The penguin lives a life shaped by routine in the Ice Kingdom, while the dormant identity waits beneath the surface. This duality becomes the foundation for everything that unfolds later. Gunter is not a being defined solely by the present. The creature is shaped by a fall that echoes across centuries, connecting the quiet life in the Ice Kingdom to a cosmic past filled with significance. The impact of this fall reaches into the nature of Gunter's interactions with powerful beings in U. Those attuned to magical or cosmic forces sense something hidden beneath the surface. They react with caution, curiosity, or unease because they recognize traces of an identity that once moved through the cosmos with immense power. These reactions highlight a truth that the penguin form cannot hide completely. The fall diminished Orgalorg, but could not erase the cosmic presence entirely. Even as the ancient identity remained dormant, the fall created conditions that shaped Gunter's relationship with magic. Exposure to enchantment awakens memories, stirs instinct, and draws the creature toward objects connected to ancient power. This attraction is not controlled or intentional. It comes from the part of Orgalorg still alive within the penguin. These reactions form the earliest signs that the fall did not sever every thread connecting the present form to its cosmic past. As time progressed, these threads began to tighten. The presence of the Ice King, the crown, and the magical environment of the Ice Kingdom created a space where the dormant identity could begin to stir. Yet the fall ensured that this awakening would not come easily. The cosmic being had been reduced, restrained, and hidden within a body that could not express its full power. The path to awakening required pressure, opportunity, and alignment that had not yet appeared. The story of Orgalorg's fall is a story of consequences and transformation. It explains why the creature that now lives as Gunter carries contradictions that cannot be explained by earthly experience alone. The fall forced a being of immense power into a life shaped by simplicity, companionship, and routine. It created a layered identity where ancient ambition coexists with the quiet rhythms of the Ice Kingdom. These layers form the foundation of Gunter's nature, revealing that the creature is shaped by a cosmic past even as it lives a present defined by ice and quiet companionship. The creature known as Gunter lives within two identities that coexist inside a single form. The surface identity is that of a penguin shaped by years in the Ice Kingdom, influenced by cold landscapes and daily routines. Hidden beneath that surface rests the ancient presence of Orgalorg, a being once capable of cosmic influence. This combination creates a complex inner world that shapes every part of Gunter's existence. The dual nature does not present itself through constant conflict, but through subtle tension that rests quietly inside the creature's movements, instincts, and reactions. The penguin identity defines Gunter's present life. This form developed through years of adaptation to the environment of the Ice Kingdom, creating habits shaped by cold air, icy floors, and constant exposure to the Ice King's magic. Gunter eats, sleeps, explores, and behaves according to patterns that match the life of a creature perfectly suited to a frozen realm. This identity feels complete on its own. It provides purpose, routine, and familiarity. The small body interacts with the world in ways that reflect immediate needs rather than ancient memories. Yet beneath these simple behaviors lies the dormant essence of Orgalorg, carrying memories and instincts shaped by a history older than U. This essence does not dominate Gunter's daily life, but it remains present, influencing the creature in ways that cannot be explained through penguin instincts alone. The ancient presence responds to cosmic forces, magical disturbances, and moments of heightened tension with awareness that belongs to a being far beyond the physical form it now inhabits. These reactions rise to the surface like ripples from a distant place, subtle but undeniable. The balance between these two identities shapes Gunter's behavior. The penguin form often leads, guiding the creature through daily tasks with playful mischief or quiet observation. The ancient presence follows, stirring when specific stimuli awaken old memories. This dynamic creates a being that moves easily through the Ice Kingdom while carrying an internal depth that no one around it fully understands. The dual nature is not a struggle for dominance, but a coexistence formed through the unusual circumstances of Orgalorg's fall. Gunter's instinctive attraction to magical objects reflects this internal coexistence. The penguin identity approaches them with curiosity, exploring new shapes and sensations. The ancient presence recognizes traces of power hidden within these objects. The creature's reactions blend these instincts. Gunter might tap a magical relic playfully, then pause with stillness as a buried memory stirs for reasons the surface mind cannot articulate. These moments illustrate how the two identities influence one another, producing behaviors that feel both innocent and unsettling. The ancient presence surfaces most clearly when celestial or magical forces enter the Ice Kingdom. These events awaken parts of Orgalorg that remain dormant under ordinary conditions. When cosmic energy pushes against the atmosphere, the penguin identity steps aside long enough for ancient instincts to respond. Gunter stands still, watching the sky with a gaze that does not belong to a simple creature. These moments carry a quiet weight, revealing fragments of a consciousness shaped by vast cosmic history. They do not last long, but they offer clear glimpses into the dormant identity that remains intact beneath layers of present experience. The Ice King remains unaware of the dual nature, yet his presence influences it. His magic fills the palace, creating constant pulses of energy that drift through the icy halls. These pulses sometimes reach the ancient presence within Gunter, stirring small reactions. The creature pauses, shifts posture, or studies the magical currents as if remembering something distant. The penguin identity quickly reasserts itself, returning to the familiar rhythms of life in the palace. The transition between these states happens so smoothly that even sensitive observers might miss the shift. The dual nature becomes more complex in moments, involving threats or confrontation. When danger approaches, the penguin identity reacts with basic instinct, but the ancient presence enhances the reaction. Gunter becomes unusually alert, focused, or aggressive. These bursts of intensity reflect Orgalorg's remnants, responding with a strength that lies dormant most of the time. The creature's small body remains the same, but the presence inside it influences the way it navigates fear or conflict. The result is a mixture of instinct and ancient awareness that feels disproportionate to the penguin form. There are also moments of unexpected calm that reveal the ancient presence beneath the surface. Gunter sits in stillness with a posture that suggests contemplation rather than rest. The penguin eyes often take on a depth that belongs to a mind far older than the Ice Kingdom. These quiet moments appear during lulls in the palace's routine or after magical disturbances. They form a pattern that indicates something beneath the surface is thinking, remembering, or waiting. The penguin identity cannot understand these feelings, yet it does not resist them. The two identities coexist in a state of unusual harmony. The influence of Orgalorg appears most strongly when Gunter interacts with beings who possess significant magical or cosmic power. These encounters reveal reactions that do not stem from the creature's present life. Gunter behaves with caution, curiosity, or irritation based on instincts carried from the ancient identity. The penguin body acts according to memories buried deep within the mind, memories shaped by an era when Orgalorg moved among powerful entities. These reactions further separate Gunter from ordinary creatures in U, hinting at the cosmic truth hidden beneath the small frame. This dual nature does not only influence moments of tension. It shapes everyday behavior in ways that appear subtle from the outside. Gunter's mischief often carries an edge that feels calculated. The creature's movements reflect awareness rather than randomness. Even simple actions, like selecting objects to steal or rearrange, appear guided by impulses that blend penguin instinct with ancient patterns. This gives the creature a presence that feels unpredictable, as if decisions arise from a mind that operates on multiple levels at once. The penguin identity also influences the ancient presence. Years spent living a simple life within the Ice Kingdom soften the intensity that once defined Orgalorg. The cosmic ambitions recede under the weight of daily experiences shaped by companionship, routine, and emotional exposure. These experiences would never have existed in the cosmic realm where Orgalorg once thrived. They create a new layer within the ancient identity, adding complexity that did not exist before the fall. The ancient presence becomes shaped not only by its history, but by the life Gunter has lived in the Ice Kingdom. The coexistence of these two identities creates a being that cannot be defined by a single past or present. Gunter is shaped by cosmic ambition and earthly routine, by ancient power and penguin instinct, by forgotten memory and lived experience. The dual nature becomes a foundation of the creature's character, influencing every movement and reaction. The penguin form remains dominant in daily life, but the presence of Orgalorg gives the creature a depth that sets it apart from every other being in the Ice Kingdom. This layered identity becomes the source of both strength and instability. The penguin form cannot fully contain the ancient presence, allowing fragments to surface at unpredictable times. These moments hint at the potential for the dormant identity to awaken fully, creating a sense of quiet tension that lingers beneath daily routines. The Ice Kingdom remains unaware of this tension, but Gunter carries it constantly, living between two natures that coexist without ever merging into a single whole. The dual nature of Gunter reflects the larger themes that shape the world of U. Identity is layered, influenced by past events, and shaped by present circumstances. Creatures carry histories that reach beyond their visible forms, and transformations often reveal deeper truths hidden beneath the surface. Gunter's existence embodies these ideas more profoundly than most. The creature moves through the world with simplicity, yet holds a presence shaped by cosmic history. This balance creates a unique character whose life in the Ice Kingdom carries echoes of a distant past. The ancient presence does not overshadow the penguin identity, but remains intertwined with it. Together, they form a being whose story bridges the gap between cosmic force and earthly resilience. The creature continues to live quietly in the Ice Kingdom, but the dual nature within forms the foundation for the awakening that will eventually bring the identity of Orgalorg back into the world once more. The Ice Kingdom is more than a setting for Gunter's life. It is a place that shapes the creature in ways both visible and hidden, creating an environment that molds the penguin identity while also affecting the dormant presence of Orgalorg. The frozen landscape carries a particular kind of magic, driven by the crown and reinforced by the Ice King's unstable emotions. Gunter lives within this environment for an extended period, allowing its atmosphere to seep into the creature's mind and body. The Ice Kingdom becomes both a home and a force that influences the dual nature inside Gunter. The palace itself functions like a living structure, constantly shifting under the influence of magic. Walls reshape, icicles grow in new directions, and rooms expand or contract depending on the Ice King's emotional state. These fluctuations create a dynamic environment that requires adaptability. Gunter moves through the changing halls with familiarity, navigating the unpredictable shifts with ease. This adaptability strengthens the penguin identity, teaching the creature how to respond to instability without fear. The palace becomes a training ground where reflexes sharpen and reactions form through experience rather than instinct alone. The presence of the Ice King shapes the atmosphere within every chamber. His moods influence the flow of magic, causing the temperature, light, and even the stability of the walls to fluctuate. Gunter responds to these changes with quiet awareness. The creature watches the Ice King's movements, studies the subtle shifts in the air, and adjusts its own behavior accordingly. This connection does not come from dependence, but from long exposure to the rhythms of the kingdom. Gunter learns to sense when the king is calm, when he is restless, and when the palace is about to undergo an abrupt magical shift. These emotional and magical fluctuations influence the dormant presence within Gunter. Orgalorg once navigated cosmic forces that shifted with far greater intensity, but the nature of the Ice Kingdom introduces a different kind of instability. The magic here is intimate and personal, shaped by a being trapped between identities. Exposure to this unstable magic stirs remnants of the ancient presence in ways cosmic disturbances cannot. The dormant identity reacts to small magical pulses, creating faint echoes of awareness within the penguin body. These echoes shape Gunter's behavior through instinctive pauses, sudden shifts in attention, or brief moments of heightened sensitivity. The Ice Kingdom's isolation also influences Gunter. The frozen landscape creates a sense of solitude that becomes part of the creature's daily life. This quiet environment allows the dual nature to settle into a consistent pattern. There are long stretches of time where the palace stands silent, except for the sound of the wind and the distant movements of other penguins. These moments of stillness create space for the ancient presence to exist without external pressure. The penguin identity dominates during these periods, shaping the creature through habits formed around simple routines. However, the ancient identity watches from beneath the surface, absorbing the atmosphere without revealing itself. The cold environment plays a unique role in shaping Gunter. The creature becomes accustomed to temperatures that would overwhelm most beings. The cold strengthens the physical body, allowing Gunter to endure conditions that even powerful creatures might avoid. This resilience comes from a mixture of natural adaptation and the dormant presence of Orgalorg, which once existed in environments far harsher than any climate found in U. The cold becomes a unifying force between the two identities, creating a shared foundation that links the penguin form with the ancient being within. The Ice Kingdom's magical objects influence Gunter in specific ways. These objects carry traces of ancient power, unusual enchantments, and unpredictable effects. The Ice King often leaves them scattered across the palace, creating a landscape filled with items that pulse with magic. Gunter approaches these objects with familiarity, touching them, inspecting them, or interacting with them in ways that suggest understanding rather than curiosity. The penguin identity explores them as part of daily life, while the ancient identity reacts to the magic pulsing through these items. The combination of instinct and memory creates behaviors that appear unpredictable to outsiders, but follow an internal logic shaped by both identities. The presence of other penguins within the Ice Kingdom influences Gunter's social behavior. Although the creature does not fully integrate into their group, the presence of a flock reinforces routines connected to the penguin identity. Gunter observes them, moves near them, and occasionally interacts with them without abandoning the independence created by the ancient identity. These interactions help solidify the creature's daily patterns, grounding it in a community even if the connection remains shallow. The penguin identity grows stronger through these routines, while the ancient identity maintains distance from the flock. The Ice King's companionship shapes Gunter in deeper ways than the creature might recognize. Living near someone who experiences emotional volatility teaches Gunter how to adjust its behavior to support or stabilize the atmosphere of the palace. These adjustments occur instinctively, forming patterns of care and observation. The penguin identity responds to these patterns naturally, while the ancient presence processes them through a different lens. Over time, these experiences soften the remnants of Orgalorg, adding emotional texture to an identity once shaped by cosmic ambition. The environment also influences Gunter's sense of territory. The icy halls become a domain the creature understands intimately. Every corner, ridge, and passage holds significance. The palace's shifting structure encourages Gunter to develop a keen sense of spatial awareness, helping the creature navigate changes without disorientation. This spatial sensitivity strengthens both layers of identity. The penguin form becomes more agile and confident, while the ancient presence gains familiarity with the structure of the palace, integrating the environment into its dormant instincts. The Ice Kingdom does not only shape Gunter through magic and routine, it also offers experiences that would be impossible in other parts of U. The constant presence of enchanted ice creates a world where surfaces reflect light in fluid patterns. The sounds of cracking ice blend with the low hum of magic, creating an atmosphere that feels sacred in its own way. Gunter absorbs this environment, forming emotional connections to the palace that transcend simple habitat. The creature becomes deeply tied to the kingdom through daily exposure, making it a place where the penguin identity and ancient presence begin to weave together. The Ice King's emotions act as a constant influence. When he grows lonely, the palace becomes quieter, and Gunter reacts by remaining near him. When he grows excited, the magic around the palace becomes more active, and Gunter adapts by shifting into more alert behavior. These emotional patterns become training cues that teach the creature how to navigate emotionally charged environments. The ancient identity absorbs these experiences differently, interpreting them through a lens shaped by long-forgotten cosmic interactions. This creates a situation where both layers of identity respond to the same stimuli through different understandings, aligning in unexpected ways. The Ice Kingdom also provides stability. Despite its magical fluctuations, it remains a consistent environment where Gunter knows the rhythms of each day. This stability allows the penguin identity to grow strong and confident, creating routines that define the creature's present existence. The ancient presence benefits from this stability as well, finding quiet space to remain dormant without being forced into conflict or awakening too soon. The balance between routine and magic creates a unique environment where both layers of identity can coexist without overwhelming one another. Exposure to strong magical surges provides occasional glimpses of the ancient identity within Gunter. The palace sometimes experiences bursts of energy caused by the crown, by the Ice King's emotional turbulence, or by external disruptions. These surges awaken faint traces of cosmic instinct within the creature. Gunter may pause, stand still, or react in ways that appear unnatural for a penguin. These reactions are brief but significant, showing that the dormant identity remains alive beneath the surface. The Ice Kingdom becomes a place where these brief awakenings occur safely, allowing the ancient presence to stir without fully rising. The influence of the Ice Kingdom shapes Gunter into a being that blends simplicity with depth. The environment molds the penguin identity through daily routines, while the magical atmosphere interacts with the ancient presence in ways that strengthen its dormant nature. Together, these influences create a creature uniquely shaped by its home. The Ice Kingdom becomes more than a location. It becomes a force that defines Gunter's present life and plays a vital role in preparing the path toward the awakening that will one day reveal the full truth of the cosmic being within. For most of its life in the Ice Kingdom, Gunter moves through the world as a creature guided by instinct, routine, and the small habits shaped by daily existence. Yet there are moments when the calm surface of this identity fractures, allowing a glimpse of the ancient presence hidden within. These moments do not last long. They arrive quietly, then fade just as quickly, leaving behind a strange tension in the air. These brief awakenings reveal the depth of the being trapped beneath the penguin form, showing that Orgalorg's essence has not disappeared. It sleeps, waiting for conditions strong enough to break through the layers that hold it still. The earliest signs of awakening appear during disturbances in the atmosphere of the Ice Kingdom. The crown's unstable magic creates pulses of energy that ripple through the palace without warning. Most creatures would recoil or flee from these surges, but Gunter reacts differently. When the magic spikes sharply, the creature pauses, body still and eyes focused with unnatural clarity. The penguin form appears calm, yet there is a visible shift in presence, as if something inside is listening. These moments reveal a sensitivity to magical fluctuations that exceeds anything expected from the outer form. Another type of awakening occurs when celestial forces sweep across the sky above U. Meteor showers, unusual lights, or distant energy signals trigger reactions that hint at long-buried memory. When such events unfold, Gunter stops what it is doing and gazes upward with a stillness that feels heavy. The posture shifts from playful or curious to poised and alert. The creature does not panic or display fear. Instead, it holds a sense of recognition, reacting to something it cannot fully recall but feels deeply. These responses reflect instincts shaped by a cosmic past, rising through the penguin identity for reasons the creature cannot understand. Awakenings also surface during encounters with objects connected to ancient power. When Gunter interacts with relics touched by cosmic or transformative magic, the creature occasionally experiences brief surges of awareness. A small relic might cause a sudden stillness, followed by a subtle change in the creature's expression. A more powerful object might trigger a stronger reaction, causing Gunter to move with precision or focus that appears out of place. These moments suggest that the dormant presence recognizes remnants of a world it once inhabited, responding to them through instinct rather than conscious memory. The Ice King's actions play a role in bringing these awakenings to the surface. His emotional volatility causes magic to erupt without warning. When a surge becomes unusually strong, Gunter sometimes reacts in ways that do not match the behavior of a simple companion. The creature may move toward the source of the disturbance rather than away from it, displaying curiosity instead of fear. This reaction hints at a mind that once sought power rather than shunned it. The ancient presence inside the penguin senses energy that aligns with its former existence, stirring briefly before the surface identity reasserts control. Moments of awakening appear most clearly during periods of disruption or crisis. When the Ice Kingdom faces threats from outside forces, Gunter's reactions become sharper and more deliberate. The creature stands between intruders and the Ice King, displaying aggression or focus that feels disproportionate to its size. These defensive reactions reveal remnants of an identity shaped by conflict. The ancient presence knows how to respond to danger, even if it cannot remember the full scope of its past. The penguin body strains to express power far greater than its physical limits, creating bursts of strength or determination that hint at the being within. These quiet awakenings also appear when Gunter experiences strong emotions. Anger, stress, or intense curiosity can cause the dormant identity to rise through cracks in the surface. The creature's eyes harden, posture shifts, and movements grow purposeful. These moments do not last long, but they expose the tension between the penguin identity and the cosmic presence beneath it. The ancient essence reacts instinctively to emotional triggers, shaping the creature's behavior through instincts tied to a distant past. Although Gunter cannot access conscious memories from its life as Orgalorg, emotional residue remains strong enough to influence reflexes and reactions. Sometimes these awakenings present themselves through actions that appear harmless at first glance. Gunter may build small structures out of random objects scattered across the palace, creating shapes that resemble patterns tied to cosmic symbolism. These patterns do not arise consciously. They emerge from the dormant identity within, surfacing through instinctive creativity. When the structure is complete, Gunter often wanders away without acknowledging what it has built, leaving behind arrangements that reflect an ancient mind working through the limits of the penguin form. Other awakenings emerge through moments of unexplained memory. Gunter occasionally behaves as though reminded of something distant, pausing during routine activity and staring into the distance with a depth that does not match the simple exterior. These pauses last only a few seconds, but the shift in presence is clear. The creature seems to touch a fragment of memory without understanding it, like a distant echo of a former life vibrating beneath layers of new identity. These echoes offer a window into the complexity of Gunter's mind, revealing that the transformation did not erase Orgalorg. It only buried the past beneath a thick layer of present experience. Magical accidents within the Ice Kingdom play a significant role in drawing the ancient presence closer to the surface. When the Ice King's experiments go wrong, or when stray spells drift through the palace, Gunter occasionally becomes the center of the disturbance. These events do not harm the creature. Instead, they resonate with something inside. The magic interacts with the dormant identity, pulling it upward for a brief moment. During these flashes, Gunter behaves with an intensity that betrays the cosmic force hidden beneath its feathers. The awakening subsides quickly, but the impact lingers within the Ice Kingdom as a faint shift in atmosphere. There are times when the dormant identity rises stronger than usual, creating brief moments when the penguin form appears unable to fully contain the force within. The creature's movements grow sharper, the posture becomes tense, and an aura of unsettling confidence surrounds it. These moments often occur when magical power from the crown becomes unusually strong. The ancient presence responds to this power instinctively, reaching upward as if drawn toward its former nature. The penguin identity struggles to maintain control, creating a brief inner conflict that fades only when the magical disturbance subsides. These awakenings also carry emotional echoes from Orgalorg's past. Although the ancient identity cannot consciously recall its history, the feelings associated with certain experiences remain alive. These emotional remnants influence Gunter during obscure cosmic events. When the stars align in specific ways, or when the sky fills with unusual patterns, Gunter reacts with unease or fascination that reflects remnants of Orgalorg's ambition. These reactions reveal that the ancient identity still holds fragments of purpose, waiting for the proper conditions to rise fully. The Ice Kingdom serves as a place where these awakenings can occur safely. The magical environment provides just enough stimulus to stir the ancient presence without fully empowering it. This allows the creature to experience glimpses of its cosmic nature without losing control of its present identity. The palace becomes a buffer between the penguin form and the dormant entity within, shaping the conditions that allow the dual nature to coexist without collapsing into conflict. These moments of awakening are important because they mark the gradual shift toward the event where the dormant identity will eventually rise. Each awakening strengthens the connection between the penguin form and the ancient essence. The creature feels the stirrings without understanding them, acting through instinct rather than memory. These shifts reveal the hidden depth behind Gunter's small frame, showing that the creature carries more than mischief and routine. It holds an identity defined by cosmic ambition, suppressed through punishment, and now resting beneath the surface of a life shaped by ice and companionship. The awakenings do not come with warning. They appear suddenly, fade quickly, and leave behind a strange sense of possibility. These glimpses of Orgalorg show that the ancient presence remains intact, waiting for the moment when the dormant identity will rise fully through the penguin form. The Ice Kingdom continues to shape the conditions that influence these awakenings, guiding the path toward the transformation that will reveal the complete truth of Gunter's nature. The dormant presence inside Gunter endures for a long time, held beneath layers of instinct and daily routine, yet the conditions that keep the ancient identity quiet begin to shift. These changes come from a combination of cosmic alignment, magical pressure, and internal tension that grows stronger with each moment of awakening. Eventually, the balance that keeps the ancient presence contained reaches a breaking point. The dormant identity rises, pushing through the penguin form with strength that reflects its original power. This emergence marks the temporary return of Orgalorg, an event that carries immense significance for both the Ice Kingdom and the world beyond. The transformation begins with a convergence of forces that pull at the buried identity. Celestial signs appear in the sky, filling the atmosphere with energy that resonates with Orgalorg's forgotten memories. These signals awaken instincts that have remained still for centuries. The penguin body reacts before conscious understanding arrives, moving in ways that reflect ancient purpose rather than the playful mischief of daily life. The creature grows restless, its behavior shifting from routine to determination. The atmosphere around Gunter changes subtly, revealing a tension that spreads through the walls of the palace. As the cosmic alignment strengthens, the dormant identity pushes harder against the limits of the penguin form. The creature begins to move with an intensity that unsettles the Ice Kingdom. The Ice King notices the shift without understanding its cause. Magic within the palace reacts to the rising force inside Gunter, vibrating through the ice like a distant echo. The frozen halls tremble when the ancient presence stirs, revealing that the creature now carries power too large for its small form. These moments form the final steps toward the transformation that will unveil Orgalorg. The awakening reaches its peak when the celestial forces align fully. The penguin body becomes a vessel too small to contain the rising identity. The transformation occurs rapidly, releasing the power that has remained dormant for so long. Gunter's shape stretches and fractures as the ancient presence takes form once more. The creature expands into a towering being of darkness and cosmic power, revealing the true identity of Orgalorg. This transformation is not guided by malice. It is driven by instinct, fueled by the same ambition that defined Orgalorg's existence before the fall. The ancient identity rises because the conditions call to it, not because the penguin mind seeks control. Once fully awakened, Orgalorg acts with purpose tied to ancient memory. The being seeks to reclaim the power lost during the fall, focusing on celestial forces that can restore its former strength. This pursuit creates an immediate threat to the balance of U, as Orgalorg moves toward a goal that extends far beyond the Ice Kingdom. The being seeks access to transformative energy that will restore its full cosmic abilities. This ambition reflects Orgalorg's original nature, revealing a mind shaped by desire for influence rather than life within a frozen palace. The return of Orgalorg creates tension in the world. Creatures attuned to magic feel the shift before the being even arrives in their presence. They sense the awakening of a force that predates much of the world's current order. These reactions underscore the danger posed by Orgalorg's return. The being's presence disturbs the natural harmony of U, creating ripples through magical fields that affect everything from enchanted relics to the moods of powerful creatures. The cosmic presence asserts itself in ways the land cannot ignore. Despite the magnitude of the transformation, the return of Orgalorg does not remain unopposed. The world of U contains individuals who carry courage, magical strength, or intuitive understanding of ancient forces. These individuals sense the threat and move to confront it. Their goal is not only to stop Orgalorg, but to prevent the being from reclaiming the power lost during its fall. The confrontation that follows becomes a pivotal moment where cosmic ambition meets the resilience of a world shaped by friendship, conflict, and magic. Orgalorg's power surges during this confrontation. The being uses abilities that range from energy manipulation to territorial dominance. These abilities reveal the remnants of the cosmic might once held. Even in a diminished state, Orgalorg stands as a formidable force capable of reshaping the environment. The sky darkens, the atmosphere grows heavy, and the ground trembles beneath the being's movements. The display of power underscores the danger posed by the ancient identity, even if it does not yet hold the full strength it once possessed. Yet the world of U has changed since Orgalorg's fall. Energy sources that once fed the cosmic being no longer function in the same way, and the planet has evolved under strange conditions shaped by magic and post-apocalyptic transformations. Orgalorg's power does not align perfectly with the current nature of the world. This mismatch creates vulnerabilities. The being cannot access energy as easily as before, and the transformation strains the physical form created by the penguin body. The ancient identity pushes against limitations imposed by the fall, creating weaknesses that can be exploited. As the confrontation reaches its climax, the combined efforts of those opposing Orgalorg weaken the being further. The cosmic identity, stretched thin by both ambition and the limits of the present world, loses momentum. Each attempt to reclaim strength falters as the conditions needed for restoration fail to align perfectly. The being struggles against restraint, pushing through barriers created by magic, courage, and the resilience of U. Yet the world holds firm. The determination of its defenders prevents Orgalorg from tapping into the energy necessary to complete its restoration. The defeat of Orgalorg does not come through destruction. Instead, the being collapses under the weight of its own limitations. The cosmic identity cannot sustain itself in the current world. The power required to maintain the ancient form slips away, pulled back into the dormant state created during the fall. The transformation reverses, shrinking the immense being back into the small penguin shape that has defined Gunter's existence for years. The collapse carries a sense of inevitability, as if the cosmic identity recognizes that the world of U cannot sustain its return. Once the transformation ends, the small creature that remains displays no sign of recent cosmic ambition. Gunter stands in the aftermath of Orgalorg's defeat, feathers ruffled, eyes wide, and posture returned to familiar rhythms. The creature appears unchanged, as though the ancient identity never surfaced. This return to the penguin form does not erase the cosmic presence. It forces it back into dormancy. The ancient identity retreats into the depths of the creature's mind, silent but still present, shaped by both defeat and the conditions that allowed its brief return. The defeat of Orgalorg alters the dual nature within Gunter. The ancient presence is reminded of the limits imposed by the fall, while the penguin identity grows stronger through the experience of surviving the transformation. The creature continues its life in the Ice Kingdom with routines shaped by ice, magic, and companionship. Yet the tension between identities remains, changed by the rise and collapse of the ancient being. The close return to cosmic power leaves echoes within the creature's mind that influence future reactions, instincts, and moments of awakening. The Ice Kingdom becomes a place of restoration after the transformation. The palace recovers from the disturbance, ice settling back into familiar shapes. The Ice King, unaware of the full scope of what occurred, returns to his routines with relief rather than understanding. Gunter resumes its place within the frozen halls, acting as though nothing extraordinary has happened. Yet the awakening and defeat mark a turning point in the creature's life. The ancient identity has risen once more, felt the limits of its form, and fallen back into stillness. This cycle shapes everything that follows, creating groundwork for later events that pull the identities closer together. Orgalorg's defeat does not represent an end. It represents a moment of clarity where the cosmic being realizes the strength of the world it once sought to reshape. The collapse echoes through the creature's dual nature, reminding both identities that their connection to one another has grown deeper. Gunter continues forward, carrying a layered existence shaped by both the past and the present. The ancient presence remains dormant but aware, transformed by the brief return and preparing silently for changes that will come long after the defeat fades into memory. When the surge of cosmic force collapses and the towering form of Orgalorg retracts back into the small shape of a penguin, the world around Gunter settles into an uneasy quiet. The Ice Kingdom, shaken by the energy released during the transformation, begins to return to its usual rhythm. The ice reclaims its stillness, cracks seal under the weight of snowfall, and the palace calms as if trying to forget the disturbance that passed through it. In this quiet, Gunter resumes its place within the frozen halls, carrying the weight of what occurred in a way that does not show on the surface. The immediate aftermath seems simple. Gunter moves with familiar patterns, waddling across the floors, inspecting scattered objects, and returning to the routines built through years of life in the Ice Kingdom. Yet, beneath these actions lies an altered presence. The return of Orgalorg and the subsequent collapse create subtle shifts within the creature's inner world. The penguin identity reasserts itself quickly, but the ancient presence does not sink back into dormancy as deeply as before. The fall into stillness carries traces of awareness, like embers that continue to glow after a fire has died. These lingering fragments of cosmic memory shape Gunter's behavior in ways that differ from earlier hints. Before the transformation, awakenings emerged as instinctive reactions to stimuli that stirred the ancient presence. After the transformation, the responses gain a new refinement, as though the creature now holds a clearer sense of the identity hidden beneath the surface. The penguin form cannot remember the full scope of Orgalorg's existence, yet it carries impressions from the recent return, impressions that influence movement, instinct, and emotional tone. One of the clearest signs of this lingering influence appears in Gunter's posture. The creature's stance becomes steadier, more grounded, as though the experience of standing in a cosmic form left a subtle echo within the small body. Certain moments of stillness feel deeper, shaped by the memory of a presence that once towered over landscapes. These moments do not last long, but they reveal that the creature now carries a residual awareness of its power, even if that power remains inaccessible. The Ice King, unaware of the full truth, reacts to the aftermath through confusion mixed with relief. He sees the return of Gunter's small form as a restoration of normalcy. The palace no longer trembles under cosmic tension, and the energy within its walls settles into patterns shaped by the crown rather than ancient identity. The Ice King resumes his routines, leaning on Gunter as a familiar presence. He does not realize that the creature he depends on now carries a deeper internal imbalance created by the rise and fall of Orgalorg. As days pass, Gunter begins to display moments of heightened sensitivity to magic. The creature responds more quickly to fluctuations in the palace, detecting shifts in the Ice King's power before they fully manifest. These reactions stem from the recent awakening, which stirred the ancient identity enough to sharpen the creature's connection to magic. The penguin form remains dominant, but the awareness beneath it becomes more active, responding to energy fields with an instinctive alertness that did not exist prior to the transformation. The aftermath also creates moments of internal conflict. Gunter occasionally pauses in the middle of ordinary actions, as though pulled between the simplicity of its current life and a presence inside that seeks something undefined. These pauses do not last long, yet they reveal a tension created by the partial awakening of the ancient identity. The creature feels echoes of ambition and focus that originated from the cosmic being, but those echoes fade before they form clear intentions. The penguin identity remains in control, yet it shares its space with a presence that is now harder to suppress. Interactions with enchanted objects carry a new depth as well. Gunter approaches them with curiosity shaped by the penguin identity, but the ancient presence responds with faint recognition. When the creature touches a relic, the reaction sometimes carries a subtle resonance, as if the dormant identity senses the flow of ancient power within it. These interactions do not lead to full awakening, but they create ripples in Gunter's behavior, blending instinct with memory in a way that reveals the complexity of the creature's layered nature. Another change appears in Gunter's reaction to cosmic events. Before the transformation, the creature responded to celestial disturbances with instinctive focus. After the fall, these reactions shift. Instead of mere recognition, Gunter displays a quiet longing or tension when cosmic forces appear. The starlit sky triggers subtle restlessness, pulling at the dormant identity in ways it cannot fully express. This reaction reflects the ancient presence remembering the freedom once held during cosmic existence. The penguin form cannot articulate this feeling, but the body responds with stillness or unease whenever the sky carries signs of distant power. Despite these internal changes, Gunter does not lose the penguin identity. The daily routines remain intact. The creature wanders through the palace, follows patterns shaped by habit, and interacts with the Ice King in familiar ways. The playful mischief returns, though now influenced by the quiet weight of the recent experience. The dual nature remains in balance, with the penguin identity holding dominance while the ancient presence rests behind it, watching and waiting. The Ice Kingdom itself reacts to the aftermath in subtle ways. Magical fields within the palace feel slightly altered, as though the transformation left traces of cosmic residue that blend with the crown's influence. These traces do not harm the environment, but they linger as faint markers of Orgalorg's temporary return. The palace carries a memory of the disturbance, reflected in slight variations in the way light moves across the ice, or how sound echoes through the halls. These environmental shifts serve as reminders that a cosmic force passed through the kingdom, even if the inhabitants do not grasp the meaning of these changes. Gunter's interactions with other penguins also shift after the return of Orgalorg. The creature maintains its distance from the flock, yet the separation grows more distinct. The dual nature within creates a presence that the other penguins sense instinctively. They gather near Gunter less often, moving around it with the caution reserved for creatures whose identities carry hidden depth. This distance reinforces Gunter's individuality within the Ice Kingdom, highlighting that the creature is not merely another member of the flock, but a being shaped by forces far beyond simple nature. There are moments when the penguin identity attempts to ignore these internal changes, clinging to routines as a way to stabilize the mind. Gunter cleans, explores, and shifts objects around the palace with renewed purpose, as though trying to anchor itself fully within the life it has built. These actions reveal a creature attempting to maintain balance between two identities that cannot fully merge. The aftermath brings a sense of subtle unease, a reminder that the ancient identity may rise again if conditions align in a way that stirs cosmic power once more. The dormant presence inside Gunter reacts differently during this period. The ancient identity understands, in its limited way, that the world no longer matches the era in which it once thrived. The defeat serves as a reminder of the limits imposed by the fall and by the current nature of U. The ancient presence withdraws deeper into the creature's mind, not out of fear, but out of forced resignation. It acknowledges the boundaries that now hold it, retreating into stillness while keeping fragments of awareness alive. This creates a balance that stabilizes the creature for a time, allowing the penguin identity to function without immediate threat of another awakening. Yet the ancient presence does not disappear completely. It remains a constant undercurrent, shaped by the memory of its brief return. The creature carries this weight without understanding its meaning. The penguin identity absorbs the lingering emotions, feeling tension or restlessness, without knowing their source. These emotional echoes influence behavior, creating subtle variations in mischief, alertness, and response to magic. The aftermath becomes a period of adjustment where both identities settle into a fragile equilibrium, shaped by the rise and fall of cosmic power. As time passes, the Ice Kingdom regains its usual rhythm. Snow drifts across the landscape, the palace hums with the energy of the crown, and the Ice King continues his unpredictable routines. Gunter moves through this environment as it always has, yet the creature carries the memory of transformation in every step. The small body remains the same, but the presence within has changed. The aftermath of the return leaves Gunter with a deeper internal world, shaped by both cosmic defeat and the familiarity of life in the frozen palace. This equilibrium sets the stage for the next phase of Gunter's story, where the creature's layered identity continues to evolve under the influence of magic, companionship, and the echoes of a cosmic being that once held immense power. The aftermath does not close the chapter on Orgalorg. It simply creates a quieter space where the two identities coexist, preparing the path for the transformations and choices that will follow. The layers within Gunter continue to shift long after the collapse of Orgalorg's cosmic form. The creature returns to life in the Ice Kingdom, moving through cold halls, carrying out familiar tasks, and living as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. Yet the lingering presence of the ancient identity pushes silently beneath the surface, shaping Gunter in ways that remain invisible to the Ice King. Over time, the balance between the penguin identity and the dormant presence begins to evolve again. This evolution intersects with one of the most significant magical objects in U, the crown, setting the stage for a transformation that binds Gunter's fate to the legacy of the Ice King. The crown radiates a constant flow of magic through the palace, shaping the environment, altering emotional states, and influencing the creature who wears it. Gunter spends years within reach of this energy, absorbing its presence in subtle ways. The penguin identity gradually becomes attuned to its rhythm, while the dormant essence of Orgalorg recognizes the power sealed within the artifact. Although the crown once transformed Simon into the Ice King through overwhelming influence, it remains capable of shaping many beings depending on their nature and vulnerability. Gunter, carrying both penguin instinct and ancient presence, becomes uniquely susceptible to its pull. This susceptibility emerges through small interactions that reveal a growing fascination with the crown. Gunter approaches it during moments when the Ice King sets it aside, inspecting it with curiosity that feels deeper than simple interest. The penguin body reacts to the crown's cold glow, while the ancient presence inside stirs in response to the concentrated power it emits. These reactions come without conscious understanding. The creature cannot articulate the reason behind this attraction, yet the instinct to move closer grows stronger with time. The crown's influence on Gunter intensifies as the creature experiences internal tension caused by the remnants of Orgalorg's awakening. The dormant essence seeks direction, purpose, or a new form of stability. The crown offers a source of power that could fill this void. The artifact radiates magic capable of reshaping identity, altering memory, and enforcing new patterns of behavior. Gunter, living in the shadow of cosmic remnants and earthly routines, becomes a vessel ready for transformation under the right conditions. The path toward becoming a new Ice King begins with this growing resonance between creature and artifact. The Ice King's behavior contributes to this development. As he cycles through moments of vulnerability, confusion, and instability, the palace becomes filled with lingering emotional currents that affect Gunter deeply. The creature senses the fragility of the Ice King's existence, shaped by centuries of transformation caused by the crown. These emotional moments create an atmosphere where Gunter begins to internalize the idea of stepping into roles shaped by power, even if the creature does not understand the full implications of such a path. The penguin identity responds to the Ice King's distress with increased presence, while the ancient identity observes the patterns created by the crown's effect on its wearer. The turning point arrives when the Ice King experiences a period of heightened instability that leaves the crown unattended for longer than usual. The palace becomes quiet, touched only by faint traces of magic drifting through the air. Gunter approaches the crown with a sense of purpose, driven by internal forces shaped by both lingering cosmic memory and the pull of the artifact. The penguin form picks up the crown, and the dormant essence within responds immediately. The magic pulses through Gunter's body, weaving itself into the creature's identity in ways that reshape both layers. When the crown settles onto Gunter's head, the transformation begins. The artifact's magic floods the creature's mind, suppressing parts of the penguin identity through the same mechanism that once overwhelmed Simon. The ancient presence of Orgalorg reacts differently to this magic. Instead of resisting or collapsing, It bends under the influence, allowing the crown to shape it into a new pattern. The cosmic identity cannot overpower the artifact, yet it adapts to the transformation with unusual fluidity. The result is a merging of forces that creates a new Ice King entity, one shaped not by human memory, but by a creature containing both earthly instinct and cosmic echoes. The transformation shifts Gunter's appearance, voice, and behavior, yet the foundation remains rooted in the nature of the crown. The creature becomes a new version of the Ice King, guided by the same enchantment that once consumed Simon. This new form reflects the chaotic blend of identities shaping Gunter. The penguin influence leaves traces of familiar mischief, while the dormant presence of Orgalorg adds undertones of cosmic ambition. These elements combine under the crown's magic to create a ruler with a distinct personality, unlike the original Ice King, yet shaped by the same forces. The transformation into the new Ice King does not erase the layered identity within Gunter, it rearranges it. The penguin identity becomes woven into the magic, shaping behavior through instincts and habits built over years in the frozen palace. The cosmic presence adapts to its new constraints, allowing the crown to override its ambitions and replace them with patterns crafted by enchantment. The result is a being who carries echoes of Orgalorg, yet remains bound to the crown's purpose. The ancient identity cannot rise in its full form within this structure, but it contributes to the complexity of the creature's new existence. The Ice Kingdom reacts to this transformation with subtle shifts. The palace adjusts to the presence of a new ruler, responding to the emotional state of the transformed Gunter. The environment fills with traces of magic that differ from the patterns associated with the original Ice King. The air becomes charged with a blend of cosmic residue and enchanted cold, creating a unique atmosphere that reflects the character of the new ruler. The frozen structures adapt to new rhythms, shaped by the different emotional currents generated by Gunter's transformation. This new Ice King identity forces a re-evaluation of the creature's place in the world. Gunter no longer moves through the palace as a simple companion. The creature now stands at the center of an enchanted domain, carrying the weight of a role defined by magic and loneliness. The transformation creates a connection between the ancient presence inside Gunter and the legacy of the Ice King, blending two narratives that began in distant parts of the universe. The creature's new identity carries burdens shaped by both cosmic punishment and magical influence. Despite the dramatic change, remnants of Gunter's original personality persist. The creature retains a sense of curiosity, mischief, and emotional response shaped by years spent in the Ice Kingdom. These traits soften the rigid structure created by the crown, allowing the new Ice King to behave with a mixture of chaos and vulnerability. The penguin identity anchors the transformation, preventing the crown from erasing the creature's core nature completely. This creates a unique form of the Ice King, one shaped by a balance of enchantment and instinct. The ancient presence of Orgalorg remains intact within this transformation, though muted. The crown's magic prevents the cosmic identity from rising fully, binding it within a new form that restricts its power. This dynamic creates a complexity unseen in the previous Ice King. The transformation introduces layers that reflect cosmic history, earthly experience, and magical influence, creating a ruler whose identity blends forces from different realms. The creature carries fragments of memory that cannot fully surface, yet still colour reactions and instincts in ways that remain invisible to those around it. The path to becoming the new Ice King marks a shift in Gunter's story. The creature no longer navigates the world as a being defined solely by dual nature or cosmic remnants. The crown reshapes these layers into a single identity, that holds echoes of everything that came before. The transformation does not resolve the tension within Gunter. Instead, it restructures it, creating a new stability built upon enchantment rather than cosmic force. This stability introduces a period where Gunter's life becomes defined by magic, isolation, and the role of ruler within the frozen kingdom. This new phase forms a bridge between Gunter's layered past and the legacy carried forward into the future. The creature stands as a symbol of how identities shaped by both magic and cosmic history can shift into new forms, carrying traces of everything that came before while building something entirely new. Gunter's path to becoming the Ice King marks one of the most significant transformations in the creature's life, reshaping its dual nature into a role that binds ancient presence and earthly instinct beneath the crown's enduring power. After Gunter becomes the new Ice King, the transformation settles across the palace like a second layer of frost, quiet yet unmistakable. The crown wraps its influence around the creature's mind, shaping thoughts, emotions, and behaviour in patterns similar to those once imposed on Simon. Yet beneath this magic lies a deeper foundation that sets this new Ice King apart. The presence of Orgalorg remains intact within the transformed identity, muted but not erased, shaping the creature in ways that create a complex blend of instincts and ancient echoes. These echoes weave through every part of the new Ice King's existence, creating a version of the role that carries traces of cosmic history and earthly personality. The crown's enchantment molds the outer layer of identity, creating habits of speech, emotional volatility, and enchantment-driven thinking that mark the lineage of the Ice King. This magical influence establishes patterns that the new Ice King follows without question, forming a structure around which the creature builds its daily life. Yet these patterns rest on top of an inner world shaped by Gunter's long history in the Ice Kingdom and the ancient presence of Orgalorg. These layers interact beneath the surface, guiding behaviour in subtle ways that differ from the original Ice King's responses. The echoes of Orgalorg's surface through emotional undercurrents rather than direct memory. The cosmic identity once carried ambition and cosmic perspective, yet the crown suppresses these drives, redirecting them into whimsical obsession and scattered intention. Even so, remnants of Orgalorg's nature seep through, shaping the new Ice King's reactions to magic, power, or cosmic disturbances. When strange forces ripple through the sky, the new Ice King pauses with a kind of recognition that does not align with the enchantment controlling behaviour. These moments reveal the inner presence reacting instinctively to cosmic signals, even if the conscious mind cannot interpret them. Awareness of magical objects also carries the imprint of Orgalorg's past. The new Ice King handles enchanted items with confidence that exceeds the expected behaviour of someone shaped entirely by the crown. This instinct stems from Orgalorg's former familiarity with powerful forces, creating a subtle grace in the creature's interactions with relics and artifacts. While the enchantment directs actions towards scattered goals, the echoes of cosmic experience influence the way the new Ice King understands the presence of power within these objects. The creature senses danger or potential more easily than the original Ice King ever did, reacting with caution or fascination shaped by ancient memory. Another echo appears in the new Ice King's posture during quiet moments. When the palace falls silent and the creature stands alone in the icy halls, the body sometimes holds a stillness that resembles the calm of a being who once moved among cosmic realms. This stillness carries weight, as if a deeper identity is waiting beneath the enchantment, observing the world through layers of magic and instinct. These moments never last long, as the crown quickly reasserts its behavioural patterns, pulling the new Ice King back into scattered thought or restless activity. Still, the posture reveals that the ancient identity remains present, shaping subtle aspects of the creature's demeanor. The new Ice King's reactions to emotional experiences reflect the layered identity within. While the enchantment governs emotional extremes, the depth of response often carries traces of something older. Moments of sadness feel heavier, as though Orgalorg's ancient isolation echoes through the crown-induced loneliness. Moments of excitement carry undertones of cosmic ambition, translated into whimsical energy rather than destructive intent. These blended emotions reveal a being whose heart holds the weight of multiple lives, even if the conscious mind only understands the surface level created by the crown. Interactions with the Ice King's old possessions bring out another layer of echoes. Objects tied to Simon's past, or artifacts connected to the former ruler's life trigger reactions that differ from those found in the original Ice King. The new Ice King approaches these items with curiosity shaped by Gunter's years spent observing Simon's behaviour. The creature has lived alongside the former king long enough to absorb emotional impressions connected to these objects. These impressions now mix with the crown's influence and Orgalorg's dormant presence, creating a blend of responses that feel deeply layered rather than simply whimsical. The frozen environment also shapes the echoes of Orgalorg. The cold landscape, filled with reflective surfaces and ancient energy from the crown, mirrors aspects of the cosmic stillness that once defined Orgalorg's existence. The new Ice King walks through halls that vibrate with magical resonance, creating sensory patterns that stir faint memories within the dormant identity. The combination of enchanted cold and vast silence allows the ancient presence to rise slightly closer to the surface, forming subtle shifts in the creature's awareness. These shifts never fully break through the crown's control, yet they influence behavior in small but meaningful ways. The creature's treatment of other beings also reveals layers shaped by the ancient identity. The new Ice King behaves with a mixture of mischief, bossiness, and emotional unpredictability. Yet beneath these traits lies an instinctive sense of superiority shaped by Orgalorg's cosmic past. This sense does not manifest as overt aggression or domination. Instead, it appears in the creature's confident posture, casual handling of magical dangers, and instinctive expectation that others will react to the presence of power. These traits do not come from the crown or the penguin identity alone. They arise from the dormant remnants of a being who once held immense cosmic authority. Despite these echoes, the new Ice King remains bound by the crown's enchantment. Orgalorg's ancient will cannot reassert dominance or reshape the identity into something cosmic. The artifact's influence is too strong, weaving new patterns that suppress ambition and redirect purpose into scattered emotional drives. The result is a layered personality where cosmic echoes manifest only in fragmentary form, never rising into full clarity. The transformation does not restore Orgalorg. It reshapes the cosmic presence into something subdued, locked within an identity that blends enchantment, instinct, and ancient memory. This layered identity gives the new Ice King a unique presence within the Ice Kingdom. The palace responds to the creature differently than it once responded to Simon. The ice hums with a deeper resonance, reflecting the blend of cosmic residue and enchantment held within the new ruler's body. The halls feel slightly heavier, carrying undertones of ancient force that linger beneath the light-hearted chaos created by the crown. These atmospheres reveal the complexity of the creature's internal world, even if the new Ice King is unaware of the influence shaping them. The new Ice King's connection to the crown also differs from Simon's bond. Simon wore the artifact as a desperate attempt to survive, creating a transformation that fractured his identity. Gunter steps into the role with a completely different past, carrying cosmic remnants that change the way the enchantment settles into the mind. The crown cannot erase the presence of Orgalorg entirely, nor can it override the penguin identity completely. Instead, it binds both layers together, creating a ruler shaped by overlapping histories. This dynamic gives the new Ice King a unique perspective, one influenced by forces far beyond the magic of the artifact. These echoes of Orgalorg continue to influence daily life in the palace. The new Ice King navigates the frozen halls with an awareness shaped by multiple identities, responding to magic, emotional shifts, and cosmic events through a blend of instinct and enchantment. The result is a being whose entire existence feels layered, marked by traces of cosmic experience and earthly familiarity. The crown provides structure, the penguin identity provides personality, and the ancient presence provides quiet depth that surfaces in subtle ways throughout the creature's behavior. Though the crown controls the upper layers of identity, the echoes of Orgalorg act as a reminder that the new Ice King carries a legacy shaped by both cosmic power and earthly transformation. The creature's internal world holds the memory of flight through the universe, the softness of life as a penguin, and the enchantment imposed by the crown. These layers blend into a single existence that stands at the intersection of multiple histories. The echoes of Orgalorg do not seek dominance. They exist as quiet reminders of the past, shaping the future of a ruler who carries the weight of an identity born from both cosmic force and the cold heart of the Ice Kingdom. Gunter's story unfolds across layers of transformation, cosmic consequence, and quiet companionship, leaving behind a legacy that spans far more than the ice beneath the creature's feet. What begins as the life of a simple penguin becomes a narrative shaped by ancient exile, hidden power, and the influence of one of the most significant magical artifacts in U. Through each phase of existence, Gunter carries traces of every identity lived, creating a legacy defined by complexity rather than clarity. This legacy becomes one of mystery, resilience, and a strange kind of continuity that connects cosmic history with daily life in the Ice Kingdom. The earliest part of this legacy begins with Orgalorg, the cosmic being whose fall from power set the foundation for everything that followed. The story of that fall reveals how immense power can collapse into stillness, how ambition can become quiet existence, and how cosmic identity can be folded into the small shape of a creature unaware of its past. These beginnings form a legacy rooted in transformation. Orgalorg's defeat becomes not only a punishment, but a strange form of rebirth, creating a being who carries ancient presence within a harmless exterior. Life as Gunter introduces a new chapter where habits, companionship, and environment shape the creature far more than cosmic history. Years spent in the Ice Kingdom teach the penguin identity how to live within a frozen landscape filled with magical currents and emotional turbulence. This period gives Gunter a legacy of persistence. The creature learns how to adapt to a world shaped by the crown's influence and the Ice King's shifting moods. These experiences add layers of stability that soften the ancient presence within. Gunter's mischief, curiosity, and quiet loyalty become part of the creature's identity, forming a legacy of personality that stands apart from Orgalorg's cosmic nature. The rise and fall of Orgalorg's temporary return introduce another complex layer. The transformation back into the cosmic form reveals that the ancient identity never vanished, even after centuries of living as a penguin. This moment leaves behind a legacy of tension, showing that power can remain dormant inside a small body, waiting for the right conditions to awaken. The collapse of Orgalorg back into Gunter adds depth to the creature's story, demonstrating how past and present identities can collide without fully merging. The legacy that emerges from this event is one of contradiction, shaped by glimpses of cosmic might held within physical limitation. Gunter's eventual transformation into the new Ice King adds a final layer that redefines the creature's legacy within the world of U. The crown reshapes the creature's identity, binding together the penguin's instincts and the echoes of Orgalorg beneath patterns enforced by magic. This new identity becomes a continuation of a role once held by Simon, but reimagined through the lens of Gunter's unique nature. The legacy shaped by this transformation is one of inheritance. The creature steps into a position that holds both power and isolation, continuing a cycle started long before its birth. The legacy of the new Ice King differs from Simon's, in ways both subtle and profound. While Simon struggled under the influence of the crown, trapped between memory and enchantment, Gunter enters the role with instincts shaped by years in the Ice Kingdom. These instincts soften the edges of emotional turmoil and add a touch of the creature's familiar mischief to the identity created by the crown. The echoes of Orgalorg create added weight beneath the enchantment, shaping a ruler whose internal world contains fragments of cosmic understanding mixed with the playful foundation of the penguin identity. This layered presence becomes a legacy of complexity, showing how different histories can merge into a new form without erasing one another. Gunter's story leaves its mark in the relationships formed along the way. The creature's long companionship with the Ice King establishes a legacy of quiet loyalty. Despite moments of mischief and unpredictability, Gunter remains by the ruler's side through emotional volatility and magical chaos. This loyalty becomes part of the creature's identity, showing that even a being with cosmic origins can develop bonds shaped by affection rather than ambition. This connection influences the new Ice King identity as well, adding emotional depth to the role formed by the crown. Another part of Gunter's legacy lies in how other beings react to the creature. From the earliest hints of unusual behaviour to the revelation of Orgalorg's return, the creature inspires curiosity, confusion, or caution among those who sense the layers hidden beneath the surface. These reactions form a legacy of mystery. Even after becoming the new Ice King, Gunter carries an aura shaped by cosmic residue, penguin instinct, and magical influence. This aura sets the creature apart, leaving others uncertain about the full extent of the power hidden within the small body. The Ice Kingdom itself becomes part of Gunter's legacy. The frozen landscape provides a home that blends with the creature's layered identity. The halls hold memories of Orgalorg's dormant presence, Gunter's daily routines, and the magic that eventually reconfigured the creature into the new Ice King. These memories are not recorded in physical objects, but they linger in the atmosphere of the palace, shaping the identity of the kingdom itself. This connection forms a legacy of place, binding the creature's complex life to the environment that shaped it. Gunter's story also reflects a legacy of duality. The creature navigates identities that never fully merge, carrying cosmic remnants, earthly instincts, and magical transformation within the same form. This duality becomes a symbol of the broader themes that define U, where beings often hold histories that reach beyond their appearances, and transformations reveal hidden truths rather than replacing them. Gunter embodies this duality more deeply than most, serving as a reminder that identity in U can stretch across realms, experiences, and lifetimes without settling into a single form. The final layer of Gunter's legacy lies in the questions left unanswered. The creature's inner world remains partly obscured, shaped by forces that cannot be fully understood even by those closest to it. The presence of Orgalorg remains buried but intact, leaving the possibility of future awakenings or shifts in identity. The transformation into the new Ice King binds the creature to a role that carries great power and deep emotional weight. Yet it also leaves open the question of how much of Gunter's personality, cosmic history, and magical influence will guide the kingdom in the future. These unanswered questions create a legacy of intrigue, ensuring that the creature's story continues to resonate through the Ice Kingdom and beyond. As time moves forward, Gunter's legacy becomes a blend of cosmic history, personal evolution, and magical transformation. The creature stands as a symbol of how power can be reshaped by circumstance, how identity can hold multiple layers without losing its core, and how beings in Oo can carry histories that stretch far beyond their physical forms. Gunter's life reflects the idea that legacy is not defined by a single moment, but by the accumulation of experiences shaped by past, present, and future. The creature's journey leaves behind a lasting mystery, one that continues to echo through the frozen halls and cold winds of the Ice Kingdom.